Podmortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA plus community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are also available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers, free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their multi-award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings, both in person and via Zoom, that were graciously made available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development. Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary, Women in Conversation, is slated for a September release, and we're looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin, joined as always by my co-hosts, my sister and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from a Roadhouse bar, discussing the 1987 neo-Western horror film, Near Dark. This film was directed by Kathryn Bigelow, from a screenplay by Bigelow and Eric Red. Drawing inspiration from vampire mythology and filtering it through the lens of the Western genre, Near Dark offers a unique and original experience for viewers. With indelible imagery, a cast of memorable characters, captivating cinematography, and a simple yet compelling narrative, Bigelow confidently crafts a fascinating feature in her solo directorial debut. Though the film was well received by contemporary critics, Near Dark performed rather poorly at the box office. Despite this, the film would go on to cultivate quite a following in the nearly 40 years since its release. This film was suggested to us by friends of the show, Fernando Dominguez, Manuel Kelly, Paloma Blanca, Martin Shaw, Lisa Misfit, Katie Face, Beth Bauer, Wholesome Chaotic, and Seth Schaff. We'd like to thank each and every one of them for their continued support of the show, as well as this suggestion. So, Near Dark. What were your first impressions on the film?
I had never seen this movie before. I'll be honest, I didn't even know if I had heard of it. I know that good friend of the show, Fernando Dominguez, he had requested a long time ago, and he had been saying and telling me, because he's a personal friend of mine, he just kept telling me, he's like, watch it, you got to watch it, dude. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I will. I did not.
I
apologize. I did not. But covering for the show, this was a little different. This was pretty cool. There was a lot of things I did like. I don't want to say confused. I'm just kind of like the movie for me was just kind of like watching. I don't know what else to go with that. Like where else to go with that, because that's kind of just I'm just watching what's happening. You know what I mean? The movie and the events play out. It was cool, hanging out with these characters, and that was cool.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're done.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, they're cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I had never, I don't think, heard of this film until we started getting requests for it, and I've been really excited to watch it because I know a lot of people really love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe my issue with it, and I did like it. I want to preface it with that. But I think that and I don't even know if issue is the right word, but narratively, maybe it's just not what I was expecting.
Okay.
And it feels weird to even say that because shit does happen. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
There are conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
There are sets.
Mm-hmm.
There's one really excellent scene
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in a bar. But a lot of this just really feels like the day in the life of a vampire.
We're watching.
I think we're watching. As you said, we're just watching. And that's just not, and that's not anything negative. I think maybe it's just not what I was expecting. But I will say there are a couple really cool scenes. I think some of the effects that they do are really great. Bill Paxton.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is this film for me. I think he's absolutely incredible in this. He really is the best part of it, I think. And maybe because there is a narrative and there is a story, I think maybe it's just I'm not as connected to the main people in that story as I would like to be.
Okay.
That maybe it just doesn't carry the weight that it should. But Bill Paxton is great.
No, he's definitely like the shining star in this film.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff that I really, really like about this film.
Yeah.
I had always heard about it, and everyone that told me about it would always frame it as like this underseen and underappreciated film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after watching it, I completely understand that because there is a lot to it that is singular and very iconic.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, of course, is Bill Paxton, but I think that there's a lot of other moments that they really work for me, and I think that seeing visually what they decided to do with certain choices in cinematography, stuff like that, is just like, this is really something that I'm going to remember.
Okay.
There are some strikingly beautiful shots in this.
Yes.
That I was like, oh my God, you're kind of not expecting it.
But I will say I watched it on Shudder when it was on Shudder for the short time that it was.
Okay.
And we've talked a lot about it on the show. So many things that we watch these days, my retention is just gone.
Right.
And so whenever it came time to rewatch it, to cover it, it was almost like watching a brand new film again.
Mm-hmm.
But covering it now, I really did love a lot about it because there really is a lot to appreciate. I love the atmosphere of it. I love the idea behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the score is brilliant.
Right.
And the vibe of it, I like this idea of the found family.
I will be honest. I did find enjoyment in watching it. I think it was just like you were saying, babe, the whole day, a day in the life. Like, oh, we're just gonna follow you. Pretend we're not here. We're just a shadow. It sometimes it does just feel that way for me, and it's like, yeah, that's really cool, but when are we doing anything? Like, what's happening?
Just what it is to be a vampire.
Yeah,
that's
true
it.
life.
You think you know. I think you know what it is for me, and I was just telling this to Jules just the other day.
Okay.
I said, if I were to remake Near Dark, I would make it like a 6-episode miniseries.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I like a lot of the elements,
Right.
but there's just not enough time spent on a lot of them.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Like, I think that you could make this to where the romance that we get in the film feels earned.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of it hinges on that.
Yeah.
And it's just so
yes.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah. And you know what? And maybe it is too because I when watching this, I was like, you know what? This feels very Lost Boys-y. I was like, and for me, I love Lost Boys.
Right.
So watching it, I was like, this kind of just reminds me of that. But I know they came out the same year, or they.
It's very closely timed, and it was very unfair to Near Dark.
Oh.
Yeah, but it did remind me of that.
And I think it was kind of part of this like 80s vampire renaissance
Mm-hmm.
where it was becoming more popular to do these films, because I feel like there was just a run of like 5 or 6 vampire films around the same era.
Yeah.
And they all kind of got a lot of traction. They could get some fucking traction, as we talk about.
And good for them.
Yes. But unfortunately, and I'll talk about it a little more in the production, Near Dark just did not.
Yeah.
It came later.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of the perfect transition to get into the production of this film.
Okay.
The sources that I have for this portion and that I'll kind of reference throughout the episode are the director's commentary with Kathryn Bigelow, a making-of documentary called Living in Darkness, and an interview with Kathryn Bigelow that I found online but could not find the source for, so I just said it's from a nondescript magazine in 1987.
Fair enough.
All right.
So, as it turns out, Near Dark was born out of a creative partnership that Kathryn Bigelow had with writer-director Eric Red. They decided to write a pair of spec scripts together, one that Red would direct and one that Bigelow would direct. A spec script, for those not familiar with the term, is short for a speculative script, which is a script that's written without a prior agreement from a studio or a production company. So there's no guarantee that it'll ever be made. It's really just writing it and seeing what happens.
Right.
But they wrote the screenplay for a film called Undertow first. And this is the one that Red was meant to direct, and he would go on to direct it in 1996. So it took like 10 years.
Okay.
Damn.
But after they wrote this script in the mid to late 80s, they switched gears and started their work on Near Dark. They initially wanted to make it an outright Western, but very early on in the writing process, they realized that in order to make the film interesting and marketable, they needed to attach it to a more saleable subgenre. They both got really, really excited and very inspired when they settled upon the idea of creating a hybrid between a Western and a horror film.
Okay. See, watching this, I will be honest, and I told your sister, for me, I would have loved this more if it was full Western.
No vampires?
No, well, vampires, but like it was set
like
in the
old,
Old
like-
West.
Oh, okay.
It would I don't know. For me, I would have liked that.
I think it's kind of a successful thing, and you see it in small moments where it's like, oh, you're framing this like a standoff.
Yeah.
Or, little things like this, or I guess the shootouts and stuff.
Yeah.
But you can tell that was a big part of their drive, was to inject that style of filmmaking into it.
Right.
And it is interesting to mix. Because you don't see a lot of Western horror films.
Right.
Bone Tomahawk. That's all I got.
There's more.
There's
we know
more.
there's
I
more.
know there's
there's
10,000 of them. I fucking know. But as we often talk about, horror in general is a very broad genre.
Yeah.
So you can say, yeah, we're making a Western horror film, but what are you doing with it?
Yeah, like what does that mean?
Yeah.
So it was Bigelow who spoke of her intrigue with the sexually oriented mythology of vampirism and thought that it would meld well with the romance and nostalgia synonymous with Westerns.
Okay.
But she also described Bram Stoker's Dracula as a major influence on the screenplay, but not in the way that you would expect.
Okay.
Because she wanted to take this idea of vampires and strip it down to remove all of the gothic elements from it in a way that had never been done before.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to make it more of an interplay between light and dark, hence the title of the film.
Oh, all right.
Right.
But it is very interesting because you don't see anything about crucifixes.
Yeah,
or
no.
There's none of that here.
No.
So it's a very interesting take. But after she and Red finish the screenplay, then comes time for financing. Bigelow stated that the beauty of writing a script on spec is that you can set the terms of its sale as you have full control of the property.
Yeah.
So she and Red's only condition for selling the screenplay is that no matter what, Bigelow gets to direct the film when it's made.
Okay.
So this is when producers Ed Feldman and Stephen Charles Jaffe enter the fold. They were both looking for a low-budget original script to finance. Jaffe was very into the fact that the film was action-oriented and a refreshing take on the vampire mythology, specifically because it stripped the gothic elements out of it, and so it was different.
All right.
This made it stand out from other scripts in the subgenre that they had been sent. So Jaff is ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
But Feldman wanted to make a deal with Bigelow and finance the film, but he felt very trepidatious due to her lack of directorial experience. She had only made one film before, which she had co-directed, and so this would be her first ever solo-directed film. So Feldman told her that he would allow her to prep the film and direct the first 3 days of production, but if he didn't think she knew what she was doing, he would have her replaced.
Damn.
So, and again, nothing to base this off of, but I sincerely hope that it was only her directorial experience that led to such a deal being made.
Yeah.
But, of course, Bigelow took this opportunity incredibly seriously. She prepped like no other and created a ton of intricate storyboards to demonstrate her amazingly clear vision for the project. But the difficult thing that happened during this production is they get everything in order and are given a budget of $5 million. The film is cast, locations are scouted, sets are built in Oklahoma, and everything is ready to go. But the literal day that they're about to fly everyone out to begin the production, they get a call from Steven Altman, their production designer, who's already in Oklahoma. And he says that the region of Oklahoma that they intended to film in had experienced a terrible storm unlike any before. And the result of it was tremendous flooding, which destroyed all of the sets that he had designed and built.
Oh my God.
So literally the day that it's supposed to begin, they're forced to pivot. And they shift their production to the state of Arizona instead. Very interestingly, upon their arrival, it snowed in the middle of July, which also complicated things.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, God.
Yeah, this film isn't meant to get made.
Get it.
But Bigelow said that it was 40 days of production, 90% of them being night shoots. And everyone kind of agreed that it made the film itself feel vampiric due to the odd hours.
Okay.
But the production was incredibly difficult with these night shoots, also having to deal with an ensemble cast, complicated stunts, effect sequences, and the fact that it's Bigelow's first solo venture. But everyone attributed the shoot's success to Bigelow's attitude and expertise. They said that her encouragement and her support of the cast and crew, and also her incredible certainty of what this film should be, made everything run smoothly.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's like in your fucking face.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when it came time for the film's release, things did not go as well. Bigelow attributes this to the very close proximity to the release of The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
It came out less than 2 months prior,
Oof.
and it had a massive marketing machine behind it in Warner Brothers. Near Dark did not have that luxury.
Yeah.
No.
It's like you can't stand a chance.
No. It was very poorly marketed by comparison. You only have to look at the poster to see that they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. I might be editorializing. But I will say, though Near Dark earned positive marks from critics, it was unfortunately a commercial failure. On its $5 million budget, it only made $3.4 million.
Eesh.
So not even breaking even on its incredibly low budget.
Yeah. Man, but I don't know. The saxophone guy, I don't know.
Lost Boys?
Yeah.
Can't compete with that.
Like, look, The Lost Boys has everything, okay?
The song, dude.
No, it's fantastic work. We all agree. But despite the unfortunate commercial failure, Near Dark has become something of a cult classic in the 40 years since its release.
Yeah.
Nearly 40 years. I don't want it. 38. But it's a beloved film for many fans in the genre, and I am excited to talk about it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, before we sink our teeth into this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, let's black out the windows. So the film begins with the opening credits, white text against a black background, accompanied by the incessant buzzing of an insect. We get the title, Near Dark, before giving way to the tight shot of a mosquito perched pointedly, its proboscis poked into a patch of flesh on someone's arm. Its hind legs kick feverishly as it feeds, until the owner of the arm dispatches the bug with a firm smack, leaving it a crumpled mess amidst a small pool of blood. I did learn from commentary that this mosquito was real.
Oh.
It was grown in a lab over 6 months to avoid contaminants of, I guess, using a regular dirty-ass mosquito.
Wow. So they like got it out of the amber or like...
Well, not that kind of.
They Jurassic Parked it. It's just the idea, I don't know, just the way that she had said it of grown in a lab. It's like, we got these mosquito seeds.
Yeah, no.
So that's an interesting way to put it.
That was a wild sentence.
That was that whole mosquito's life.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's kind of terrible. He's famous.
He is.
He is, yeah.
He is. We'll always remember him. There's an in memoriam at the end of it. In credits. But Caleb Cotton, played by Adrian Pasdar, curses, "Dumb suck," as he brushes the dead bug away and settles himself to rest in the bed of his beat-up truck, his boots resting crossed at the top of his tailgate.
So this man, I was like, man, you look really familiar. I know you from somewhere. Just kept watching the movie. Then it hit me. I know him from Heroes.
Oh.
06 to 10.
Uh-huh.
It was good when it started. He was also in Top Gun in 86, Carlito's Way in 93, and it says he was in Desperate Housewives.
That's probably where I know him because he does look very familiar.
Yeah.
I saw in an interview that he said he was not interested in doing this film at all.
Whoa.
And the only reason that he did is because he went and saw a certain movie that a lot of this cast is also from.
Mm-hmm.
And when he found out they were involved, he was like, oh, no, yeah, I have to.
Okay.
I think he does fine.
Yeah, I think, he does what the film requires of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Whatever they told him to do, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really hard to get any fucking traction when you're up against who else we see in this film.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And plus, I feel like just not a lot is given to this character.
Not enough.
No.
For him being like our dude. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to care about him more. I wanted to know him more.
Yeah.
But the little that I know of him before the story really kicks off, I don't like.
No.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
So he's already a monster.
Yeah.
But bass pulses and synth rises in the score as we watch the sun set behind a curtain of clouds. Caleb drives down a dusty road, coasting across the horizon and beyond barren surroundings on the highway. He reaches a town after nightfall, the stretched blur of street lamps cast through his windshield as he steals a cigarette from his pack and lights it. But he finally reaches his destination, pulling into park outside of a bar. But just as he does, Levon, Caleb's friend, played by Leo Jeter, is there to meet him. He jumps onto the front bumper of the truck and back to the ground. I will say he's simply credited as Caleb's friend, but the screenplay names him Levon, so we're just going to call him Levon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That always annoys me.
Yeah.
He looked a little like, if this the guy I'm thinking about, like Michael Cera a little bit. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, if we
I don't know why, but I was like, that's all I've seen.
if we get to remake it, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
But Caleb kills the engine, warning Levon off of the truck. And when he steps out of the car to meet him, Levon apologizes, noting that he put a dent in it right by the headlight. Caleb lets out an annoyed puff of smoke as he rests his back to the closed driver's side door. But Levon approaches him and with a snarky remark, knocks Caleb's black hat off of his head. Caleb recovers it, smacking Levon with it and calling him a son of a bitch, which prompts Levon to turn his baseball cap around and puff his chest at Caleb. But Caleb just pushes Levon, ordering him to give it his best shot. I thought they were going to do the friend thing and hug and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, they're about to fight?
Yeah.
This is actually happening.
They need this.
Levon wonders what the hell is eating Caleb, and Caleb smirks. Your mama. Levon brushes it off, retorting that Caleb wishes as he parks himself next to his friend, leaning against his truck. Caleb then mutters, mostly to himself, "Wish I may, wish I might, wish I was 1,000 miles from here tonight."
I don't know how to respond to my friend. What did you say?
Levon's like, what the fuck?
You okay, man?
Just reciting poetry after we're about to fight? I don't understand. But the pair are then approached by another friend of theirs, played by Gary Wayne Cunningham, who sips a beer beneath the wide brim of his white cowboy hat before suggesting that Caleb just take off then. Now, he doesn't have a name, so he is Caleb's friend number 2.
He's staying, yeah.
Caleb supposes that he just might take off, but he notices that both of his friends are each guzzling from a bottle of booze, and he scoffs that they didn't even bring him one. Friend number 2 jokes that Caleb will have to support his own bad habits, the selfishness of his friends inspiring a chuckle from Caleb. But friend number 2 seems to be peering just past Caleb and down the dark and mostly deserted street behind him. To show Caleb what he's looking at, friend number 2 turns Caleb to face the other direction, imploring him to feast his eyes. And there, on the sidewalk, beneath beaming neon signs, steps May, played by Jenny Wright, the synth singing in the score as she licks at the pointed tip of a vanilla ice cream cone.
Jenny Wright. She was in St. Elmo's Fire in 85,
Oh,
Young Guns in 90, and The Lawnmower Man in 92.
the lawnmower man.
Yeah.
You ended weak. But it's okay.
I would have put that credit in the middle. But
Yeah. And we close on St. Elmo's Fire.
This is nitpicky, but it always makes me laugh in movies. I pointed it out in Lights Out as well, when somebody's like, whoa, and they're looking at something, or they're like, oh, they're coming or whatever, but then they make sure that we see the entrance. It's like, there's
Yeah.
you would have seen her because we just, it's just funny. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
Friend number 2 is staring at an empty sidewalk.
Exactly.
He's like, feast your eyes on Matt. She's about to come out.
Yeah. I can sense her.
Friend number 2 gushes that he's dreaming, but Caleb removes his hat, unable to break his gaze as he stares directly at May. But just as friend number 2 steps past the truck bed, Caleb pulls him back over to Levon, placing his hat back on his head as he breezes past them, ordering friend number 2 to keep dreaming. Caleb stalks across the sidewalk, approaching May, and as he leans casually against an ice machine, he offers coolly, "Can I have a bite?" May turns to him smiling. A bite? Very interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't think you would ever ask anyone for a bite of ice cream.
I'm like, if a dude, like, this is too much.
Total stranger.
Don't do this. It's scary.
Caleb circles around her, admitting that he's just dying for a cone. But when May ponders his choice of words, dying, Caleb asks if she's from around here, learning that she isn't, and catching her name in the process. He grins, noting that May is a pretty name, but as he crosses over to her other side, he asks where she's from. May answers his question with a question. "You ever hear of Sweetwater?" And Caleb has. It's down near Snyder in Texas. He spins the inside of his hat on his finger as May confirms this, but as he places it back on his head, inching a little closer, he inquires to know who she's here with. May responds that she's here with friends, and without missing a beat, Caleb follows up. Boyfriend? May just repeats herself, sharing that she's staying at the trailer park down by the highway. And Caleb seems pleased to know this, growing ever eager when May reveals that she needs a lift home. We quickly cut to Caleb in the driver's seat of his truck, beaming with boyish bliss as he introduces himself properly to May, who rides passenger. She comments that Caleb is a real nice name, but Caleb, keeping his eyes exclusively on May instead of the road, breathes that May sure is pretty. He says that he's sure that everyone tells her that. As passing lights are cast across the pair, Caleb once again asks if May has a boyfriend, and she smirks. Sometimes. This prompts Caleb to ask about other times. I was like, yeah, like, but not. But I like the dialogue. I feel like the screenwriting is good.
The screenwriting is good. Caleb is annoying.
Yes,
He
yeah.
is.
Because at this point, I'm just, what's going on?
Yes.
What is this?
But May wonders what about these other times, and Caleb volunteers the fact that he doesn't have a girlfriend. But when May comments that that's too bad, Caleb concurs. Exactly. Caleb's line of questioning continues, and he learns that May doesn't plan to stay in town for long. But considering that she isn't leaving tonight, he attempts to ask her to come to a show with him. But May suddenly appears distracted, peering up through the windshield, and when something seems to properly catch her eye, she interrupts Caleb, telling him to stop the truck. Despite being momentarily puzzled by the location, Caleb does as told, the truck screeching to a halt in the middle of the road. He settles into his seat, facing May with a smile, but May steps out of the vehicle, explaining that there's something that she wants to show him.
The fact that he was like, all right. Like, like, dude, that's not the vibe.
Well, I'm sorry. What I think right now is that this is a very, very specific spot to stop in the road.
Yeah.
I've played enough Red Dead Redemption 2 to go across that bridge.
Yes.
Oh, no, yeah.
It's like, I think the Lemoyne Raiders are out.
Your Driscolls are going to get you.
Yeah, we are fucked.
Yeah.
But Caleb follows her around to the front of the truck, the light breeze blowing through May's blonde hair as he asks, "There's something you want to show me?" May swoons that it's the night. The pair stand alone in the darkness, a confused Caleb not picking up what May is putting down. She explains that it's dark, which Caleb has obviously noticed, but May adds that it's also bright and that it'll blind you. When Caleb admits that he can't see anything, May grabs him by his jacket and implores him to listen instead. She asks if he hears it. Caleb doesn't seem to, but May grows more emphatic, declaring that it's the night. It's deafening. Caleb turns to her, the low light carving their faces out of the evening as he places his hands over her ears. But when he misreads the moment, leaning in for a kiss, May tears herself away from his grasp.
This is what I'm talking about. What part of that rolled out the red carpet for anything?
I have
The
no idea.
night, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like she's clearly
So
vibing on something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
No.
But she faces away from him, Caleb remarking that he sure hasn't met many girls like her. But May corrects him. "You haven't met any girls like me." But full of wonder, May gazes into the night sky, directing Caleb to look up. Caleb seems somewhat unimpressed by the stars above them, but May points one out, waiting within the celestial sea, asking if he sees it. Caleb claims that it's the first one that he laid his eyes on, which is highly fucking dubious. But all right.
Yeah, that's like my favorite one. And my pants are chafing me.
May explains that the light leaving that star right now will take 1 billion years to get down here. But as Caleb approaches her again, pressing a soft hand to the back of her neck, May inquires, "You want to know why you've never met a girl like me before? Because I'll still be here when the light from that star gets down to Earth in 1 billion years." Instead of asking a question like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Or simply, what?
Yeah.
Caleb just buries a few kisses into May's hair, chuckling that sounds like fun.
Sure thing, babe.
Yeah, it's like whatever you're into.
You're not listening to
No.
to a word.
No. When May admits that it is fun, Caleb confesses that he'd like to be there too. May responds with a maybe. But when Caleb wonders how, May is unable to offer an answer. Caleb just caresses her face, finally certain that he's never met any girls like May. And before he even has the chance to kiss her, May retreats back to the truck, agreeing, "No, you sure haven't." As she returns to the passenger seat, Caleb takes one last look up at the stars before joining her. I never would have guessed this, but this scene where he's stopped the truck and they're standing out in conversation looking up at the stars, filmed on a set.
Oh,
Really?
wow. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
They had so much difficulties with the cold weather, and when they had filmed earlier the scene where they meet, they actually had to put ice in the actors' mouths so that you wouldn't see how cold it actually was.
Oh, wow.
And so this scene where they're standing out here for an extended period of time, it was just easier to do on a set.
Yeah.
But the pair continue onward into the night, Caleb stealing glances over at May, who reclines casually in her seat. He makes sure that she isn't in a hurry to get home, and May just looks over at him, smiling that she never hurries, which is a fucking lie. I don't know why she would say that, especially with everything that we're about to experience.
Yeah.
But Caleb reaches for the knob to turn on the radio, cycling through stations until he finds one to his liking. We watch as the truck takes a sudden right turn, splashing through a puddle and onto a different path. As its headlights beam through the dark, lighting their way, May asks where they're going. Caleb just answers cryptically that she'll see.
Don't like that.
No.
When May shares that she isn't much for surprises, Caleb promises her that she'll like this one. The truck pulls off the road to park on the outskirts of a ranch, and Caleb retrieves a lariat from the bed of his truck, crossing over to the passenger's side door to open it for May, with a very gentlemanly, "Ma'am?" He kicks the door closed behind May, and clutching the rope in one hand, he reaches sweetly for May's hand with the other, explaining that he's going to introduce her to a friend of his, and he implores her to close her eyes. May obliges as Caleb leads her into a nearby pen, but when he attempts to introduce her to a chestnut-colored stallion that rests inside, the horse suddenly jostles, rising up on its hind quarters and whinnying worriedly.
I feel like that's a huge red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
When animals are like, whoa, fuck no. Like, it's like, dude.
Like, there's something wrong here. But Caleb's like, the horse, I told her you were cool.
You're embarrassing me. The horse is like, did you hear what she said about that star?
Yeah, that was weird.
The whole billion years.
It's really weird, Caleb. Caleb just stands confused by this behavior, and when the horse bolts to the other side of the pen, May just shrugs it off, explaining that horses don't like her. Caleb asks why that is, and May meekly mutters that they just don't.
But like we just mentioned, wouldn't that be like a red flag? It's like, oh no, all animals hate me. What?
Why?
Yeah. What have you done?
Yeah.
But May turns to walk out of the pen, seemingly embarrassed by the turn of events. But before she can make it out, Caleb swings the lasso, capturing her around her waist. She turns to face him, smiling, and beginning a bit of a tug of war. Caleb warns her that he's pretty strong, but May counters that she's stronger than him, and she seems to prove it by barely budging as they tussle over the rope, Caleb dragging himself closer and closer to her until they meet in the middle and embrace in a passionate kiss.
I mean, good for them if this is their thing. Happy for them. The lasso?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you out of your fucking mind, dude?
What are the chances of 2 serial killers meeting?
No shit.
Dude?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry, but it would be a little like, I don't know if we're doing this and she's just pulling me with such ease. Like, what the fuck is going on?
He's like, oh.
Yeah.
I think she could twist her head around at this point, and Caleb
He's
would
like,
be
"That's
like,
cool."
so.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
fine.
That's true.
But May suddenly breaks away from the kiss, lingering a while at the skin of Caleb's neck, breathing him in before she pulls away completely. It's like you're trying to control something, I feel. Like some carnal urges are taking over. And Caleb's just like, hell yeah.
There's an internal struggle going on.
Yes. Caleb asks her what's wrong, but May just glances nervously at their surroundings, removing the rope from her waist as she inquires about the time. Caleb just shrugs, smiling as he reaches for her shoulders, and he asks what time she needs to be home.
Obviously, there are extenuating circumstances with May and her curfew that are not typical.
Right.
But I feel like the fact that Caleb is like, why isn't this working, is appalling to me. 'Cause it's like, why doesn't this girl I just met tonight, why doesn't she want to fuck me in front of this horse? It's like, dude, you're fucking catching her with a lasso. Like, none of this is okay.
It's like I took her out of her way to see an animal that she told me hates her. Why
it's
is
the horse,
this?
isn't it?
Yeah. Why is this not working?
I lassoed her.
Yeah. I made it so she couldn't get away.
I'm ignoring her cryptic thoughts. What else does she want?
But May answers that she needs to be home before dawn. Caleb smirks, kissing her neck as he assures her that dawn is a long way off and that they've got plenty of time. But May responds with certain urgency. Take me home, Caleb. Caleb doesn't understand what the rush is, but May just turns away from him, insisting that she has to go. She rushes from the pin back over to the truck, climbing inside as Caleb lags behind, confused. She pleads frantically for Caleb to hurry as he casually makes his way to the driver's seat, still perplexed when he twists the key in the ignition and switches gears to take May home. Red hues hang low at the horizon, preceding the impending sunrise, as Caleb races down the road at May's urging. She notes that it's only a couple more miles and scolds herself for losing track of the time. Caleb assures her that he'll get her there, but he asks what's bugging her anyway. May's eyes glance over at him worriedly as he settles on an assumption. It's your daddy, right? If you don't get home on time, he's going to give you a whooping.
What is going on?
I don't know.
She's like, this is the last time we will be.
Yeah.
When May doesn't answer him, Caleb just tells her not to worry about it, and reaching a reassuring hand to her shoulder, he says that he'll just tell her father that the car broke down. But May wrenches away from his touch, shouting fearfully for him to just get her home. This is when Caleb takes it upon himself to stop the truck in the middle of the road. He removes the keys from the ignition, suggesting that he will get her home. But as he stashes the keys into his jacket pocket, he adds, "But you're gonna have to kiss me first."
Just kill him, May, please.
Yeah.
Whatever's brewing, just let it happen.
I think that is what's so wild, like things that we learn later on. It's like she probably, if this were not the main character of the film,
Yes.
he would just be, meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Well,
snack.
because
Yeah.
yes, I'm like, this is our guy. Like, I understand it's the 80s, whatever. But this is our guy?
He's weird.
Yeah.
He's predatory.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, yes.
That's
yes.
the better word, I guess.
Yes.
And I think that is something that this entire film hinges on this moment.
This?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
May shifts nervously in her seat, with the blue dawn of day breaking around them, and Caleb just pleads with a grin. Just a little touch. I ain't asking for much. It's like, all right, ZZ
Ew.
Top. That is ZZ Top, right? I don't remember. But he glides his fingers down her back as she turns to him, lustily locking eyes as she leans closer, synth singing in the score as their lips meet and they share a long and lingering kiss. But their lips part, the score suddenly growing sinister as May's mouth inches closer to Caleb's neck. She caresses him there before leaning in, baring her teeth and sinking them slowly and sensually into his skin.
As you would say, T. Thought she might.
Yeah. Seemed to be heading in that direction.
But as you were saying, this, if I'm May, this is the perfect fucking guilt-free snack. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't understand the way that things progress. This being the only interaction that they've had.
Yeah.
He's perfect for what needs to be done.
Yeah. The only thing that I wondered is maybe if this was just a matter of circumstance, like the dawn is breaking, and so it's like, well, I can't finish him off.
Right.
Okay.
So he got lucky almost.
Yeah.
And she's like, I guess, but I also love him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wasn't going to bring it up yet. But
but I don't really know.
But Daddy, I love him element that I'm just like,
Really?
you did?
Yeah. It's strange.
Yeah. Which part?
Yeah. May, get up.
But Caleb winces in sharp pain as May pulls back, his blood dripping from her lips. Before he can even make sense of what just happened, May immediately steps out of the truck and takes off running across an adjacent field. Caleb calls out to her, giving chase for a mere moment before giving up and watching as May grows smaller and smaller as she races toward a distant line of trees. Caleb turns back to his truck, his fingers reaching for the fresh wound at his neck as he mutters, "Some kiss." But Caleb climbs inside of his vehicle and turns the key in the ignition, only for it to stall and the engine refuses to turn over. Stranded in the middle of nowhere, without any soul in sight, Caleb is left with no choice but to leave the truck behind and head out on foot. He drags himself across an expansive field, his boots kicking up dust through the tilled dirt, his outline silhouetted against the golden glow of dawn that surrounds him, with the risen sun resting at his shoulder. But as the morning grows brighter, Caleb stumbles, the score pounding around him as he can barely stay upright. Smoke seems to rise from beneath his jacket as he clatters clumsily across the land. But back at his family farm, Sarah Colton, Caleb's little sister, played by Marcy Leeds, makes her way into a pen, where Loy Colton, their father, played by Tim Thomerson, stands immunizing one of their cattle. I will say, Tim Thomerson sounds like one of the most made-up names in the history of names.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what's he been in?
I'm going to tell you.
Cool.
So Tim Thomerson, he did look familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know this man as Doll Man.
Oh.
Get the fuck
He does
out of
fight
here.
the demonic toys at some point.
I'm aware.
He was also,
At some
and
point.
that's from 91. He was also an evil Bong from 06.
Oh.
That's great, right?
Yeah.
Say it's great.
It's great.
All right, thank you. Yeah,
I feel like we might have ended on Lawnmower Man.
hold on.
But Loy is focused on the task at hand, pressing down the plunger of the syringe. But Sarah stares off into the horizon, where she discovers Caleb, kicking up a cloud of dirt as he walks huddled over. She directs her dad's attention over to him, but Loy still tends to the animal, noting that it's about time that Caleb came home. But even from a distance, Sarah notices that something is wrong with her brother, and she tells her father that Caleb looks sick, urging him to take notice. The score rises tensely as Caleb continues on with great effort, his face slick with sweat and dingy with dirt. But off in the distance, an RV suddenly appears at the horizon, a trail of dust in its wake as it speeds hurriedly down the road. It whips a sharp turn, careening towards Caleb, the unseen driver spying him through the large windshield as the vehicle draws nearer. The door flies open as it pulls up just beside Caleb, a figure completely covered from head to toe, reaching out to seize him and pull him inside of the caravan. The large vehicle pulls a U-turn through the dirt, surrounded by a cloud of dust as it departs in the opposite direction. It's chased distantly by Loy and Sarah, who call out to Caleb to no avail as the vehicle disappears. But inside the darkness of the RV, Severin, played by Bill Paxton, flashes a sick smile as he leans over Caleb, holding him down as he shines a flashlight into his face and sticks the sharp spur of his boot to his throat. Severin offers him a grim greeting. "Howdy. I'm going to separate your head from your shoulders. Hope you don't mind none."
He's great, huh?
Yeah, he is.
What an introduction.
Bill Paxton, we did talk about him in Frailty and Terminator.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
He absolutely makes this film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that there's not much around him or anything like that, but he elevates it to such a level of coolness.
Yeah, when he's there, you notice.
Yeah.
May stands idly by in the dark as Jesse Hooker, the driver, played by Lance Henriksen, sits completely covered in blankets, lamenting, "You put a hurtin' on us, May, but good." May insists it was an accident, but Jesse just scolds May for being sloppy. Real sloppy. Severin towers over Caleb, begging Jesse to let him tap dance on him, promising that it'll be so good. Jesse calls out for Severin to do it fast, and Diamondback, played by Jeanette Goldstein, concurs, flicking a blade beneath her blanket. Let the good times roll.
Lance Henriksen, we talked about him in Pumpkinhead and in Terminator as well.
Yeah.
And Jennifer's Body.
That's right. Yeah. And Jeanette Goldstein, she's in Aliens from 86 and Terminator 2. Bill Paxton was also in Aliens, and so was Lance Henriksen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
In one of those interviews, Bill Paxton had said that he got the script and loved that it was modern day vampires, and he thought a touch of Bonnie and Clyde.
I can see that.
Okay.
So when he
yeah.
read it, he was
Okay.
obsessed with it, and he calls Lance Henriksen, and he's like, he said that he called him in the middle of the night, and he's like, "I just read this. I think that we should both do this, blah, blah, blah," because they just done Aliens together. So he said that Henriksen was like, "We just did Aliens. We don't need to slum it with the B vampire movie."
Wow.
Wow.
So Paxton's like, "Just read it. Just read it." So then he said the next day, Lance Henriksen calls him and is like, "Okay, I think that we should, I think we should both go for it, da da da." So he says that he meets with Kathryn Bigelow, but Lance Henriksen, only wanted to play Severin.
Oh.
Huh.
And they're sitting there talking together, and he's like, "Wait, I think maybe Jesse makes more sense, and maybe Bill can be Severin."
Yeah.
So then he said, Bill Paxton said the three of them went out to dinner, the two of them and Jeanette Goldstein. And they were like, "Oh, we, are attached to this film, blah, blah, blah." And then found out that she had been cast as well. So they were just going out to dinner together. The three of them had no idea that all three of them were going to be in the film. And Kathryn Bigelow even said that she had called James Cameron to make sure it was okay with him because she was
Yeah.
really poaching his cast.
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
like, "No, yeah, of course." But I just thought that was really hilarious.
Yeah.
And Lance Henriksen had developed an entire backstory for Jesse, like how he was turned into a vampire, where he was, like this like whole Confederate story of him being on a ship, and like this really elaborate backstory. They said that he got acrylic nails done and then ripped them with pliers so that they looked like bones coming out of his fingers. He spent money on all of like his costume, his nails, all that shit. He spent his own money, like took off and did it himself. And he said that he got down to 140 pounds so that you could see his bones through his chest. And that nobody asked him to do any of that. He just went and did it.
Well, there were a couple other stories that Lance Henriksen told for
Oh, no.
a little while.
Oh, no.
He talked about, like, when I told you earlier in the production when the film was set in Oklahoma and then they had to move to Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, everybody else flew there, but Lance Henriksen was like, "I'll drive there and I'll
Okay.
get even deeper into character." And so what he does is on his way, he picks up a hitchhiker.
Oh, God.
And they're driving together, and Lance Henriksen, his entire goal is to get so much in the character of Jesse Hooker that he scares the shit out of the hitchhiker. So he is in character the entire time, and he's making the hitchhiker roll him cigarettes. But as he's doing it and he's being like micromanaging and like telling him how much he's fucking it up and everything, and he's never watching the road as he's driving.
Oh my!
The hitchhiker's like, "Can you please?" And so he's starting to scare the shit out of him. And then he finally rolls what he thinks is finally the perfect cigarette. Lance Henriksen takes it, looks at it, and throws it out the fucking window. And he's just berating him the entire time. And finally, he's like, "Look, when I know that I get to the point that the hitchhiker's like, please just let me out of the car."
Yeah.
I'm in character.
Okay. Jared Leto.
Yeah, but
I feel like
hold
you're
on.
finding the character is you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Take it out on
torturing a poor hitchhiker.
Yeah.
But they also did something else where I guess Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton, they wanted to go to Tombstone. And they were like, what if we go to Tombstone in character and we're kind of like talking about, like 150 years ago when we were here, it was like this and like that. And so they did that and it kind of helped them with that dynamic. But they're driving away from Tombstone at like 80 miles an hour and they get pulled over. And
Oh my
so
God.
the cop comes up to the window and Bill Paxton is like halfway in character, half not in character. But Lance Henriksen is completely committed. And so the cop is talking to him, and Lance Henriksen is like leaning out of the window, threateningly, and like he's like, "I'm looking hungry on purpose with like a lustful look in my eyes." And he said the cop like instinctively reached for his gun,
Yeah.
because that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But Bill Paxton's like, "Dude, you
Can you
need to
Yeah, not now,
fucking
not
calm
now.
down." But yeah, like he took this so far in all aspects, whether they were filming or not.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because he said he developed an entire backstory
That's
of
crazy.
places that he'd been, things that he'd seen, how he turned. He got the coat that Jesse wears in the film. He by hand sewed a Confederate flag on the inside. He did that on his own. Like I said, he did the nails. He dropped all that weight. Like he really, really. And it's so funny to think that when Bill Paxton first called him, he was like,
Yeah.
"Shut up, science man."
Yeah.
It's like, and then he ends up getting this like consumed by it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
No,
Yeah.
it is. And I think that his performance, it's not like outshined by Bill Paxton, but it does get less attention.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I feel like he does a great job, and he should never have been Severin.
No.
So
no.
it's fantastic that he
Yeah.
realized that this is much more my speed, because it is.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he does have this almost like you kind of revere him. He has this like vibe about him
Mm-hmm.
where he would be kind of like, I mean, he's like their leader, it feels like.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
Yeah. So I mean, the casting just makes sense. Severin that would be wild. And then Bill Paxton's Jesse?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But Homer, a child played by Joshua John Miller, sits shrouded in shadows, drawing a revolver to point at Caleb's temple and asking May, "Him?"
Joshua John Miller, he does have a credit in The Willies from 1990.
Oh, I
Oh.
loved that movie when I was a kid. It's so gross.
It's so gross. May cries out against their threats as Caleb whines worriedly on the floor, demanding to know what's going on. But Severin sneers that it isn't what's going on, but what's coming off. Caleb's face clean off.
Oh, damn.
It's not good.
No.
He hisses, ready to follow through on what he's promised. But before he can, May throws herself on top of Caleb, putting herself between him and Severin. She declares that if Severin is going to kill Caleb, then he might as well kill her too, because Caleb's been bit, but he ain't been bled. After the beam of Severin's flashlight finds the wound at Caleb's neck, he curses, "Ah, shit!" turning away and removing his boot from Caleb's throat. May adds that Caleb must be turned by now, and Severin retreats to Jesse, realizing that if Caleb's been turned, and a furious Jesse understands, he comes with us. The score pounds as Jesse brings his fist down on the steering wheel, distorted guitar accompanying the caravan's cruise across the horizon, the sun beaming overhead, before the vehicle pulls off the road and into an empty hangar. Enveloped by the darkness within it, the group retires to their quarters within the RV to rest, May wrapping a blanket around Caleb, cuddling and kissing him as they nestle together warmly.
I will say, though, I was a little bit... Here's okay, so you guys, you just met, You turn him into a vampire. You're in love. That's kind of what's happening so far? Like, I'm just watching you guys
Well, I think
elope or like what?
I think that's the thing that kind of doesn't work for me so much is we saw their first date.
Yeah.
And there was nothing past that, but now she is cuddling and kissing him.
Yeah.
And like, these are their quarters over here in the RV.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I want more between to where we can make sense of any of that connection. Because there really didn't seem to be one.
Yeah,
No.
no.
But back at the Colton farm, Loy and Sarah stand with Sheriff Eakers, played by Bill Cross, in front of his cruiser parked in the dirt road between the fields. Loy directs Eakers' attention to the tire tracks left by the RV that absconded with his son. He recounts precisely that it happened 4 hours and 9 minutes ago, worried that if the vehicle had reached the highway, going a steady 55, that puts them clear to the next state by now.
It took them 4 hours?
Yeah.
We'll be there when we get there. I think the lack of urgency would have made more sense if, like, Caleb Colton is kind of known
Sure,
for,
yeah.
Yeah.
and Eakers, but they're like, we saw him kidnapped. And they're like, we got some donuts here.
Yeah, well,
We'll be there after breakfast and lunch. But Eakers rests casually against the hood of his car as Lloyd demands to know what him and his boys plan to do about that. But we do not learn their plan, and instead, as night falls, the full moon rising through a veil of clouds, we return to the hangar where the group gathers awake inside of the RV. Caleb lies nearby, breathing heavily as he listens in on their conversation, May insisting that she'll take care of him. Homer counters that she can't, reminding her that he turned her and taught her. May promises that she'll do the same for Caleb, but Severin interrupts, firing a toy gun at Homer, asking antagonistically if he's jealous, noting that he's a little too little to be jealous. Homer sits wounded, wondering if Severin has any idea what it's like to be a big man on the inside and have a small body on the outside. But an annoyed Severin counters, "You have any idea what it's like to hear about it every night?"
I feel like experiencing it is probably worse than hearing about it.
Yeah. That's true. That's selfish as
Poor
fuck.
Yeah.
Severin.
It's annoying. But he seethes to Jesse that this whole thing with Caleb is risky as shit, and if he fucks up, it's their ass. The camera glides past him as Diamondback amends this to May, that if it's their ass, then it's her ass. But Jesse has a proposal. Why not give it a week? When no one rejects the idea, Jesse rises from his chair, declaring that it's decided. They'll give it a week to see if they can call Caleb one of them. The decision made, Severin crosses over to the back of the caravan, Caleb pretending to be asleep as soon as he reaches him. You think he won't wake you up?
that was hilarious.
It's like, they'll have to let me sleep.
The friendliest welcome anyone.
No.
It's like they're not going to be rude. me.
But Severin just leans in, demanding Caleb to cut the shit. He knows he's awake. He can smell it. He tears Caleb out of bed, dragging him over to the others and resting him against a refrigerator. Caleb cries out, pleading with them to slap him if he's sleeping because he wants to wake up. Severin obliges, slapping him sharply across the face, snarking, "Guess what?" Caleb, clearly not dreaming, shifts his attention over to the group, demanding to know who they are. As Jesse puts on his coat, he introduces himself first and last, resting a hand on May's shoulder, who he correctly believes Caleb has already met. Diamondback twists a knife into the dashboard, introducing herself too, but Severin lifts Caleb to his feet, announcing, "I'm your worst fucking nightmare, Severin." He unhands Caleb to rejoin the group, but Homer reaches his hand for Caleb's cojones. Caleb wincing at Homer's handful as the little one threatens, "I'm Homer, Homer. Mispronounce it once and I wouldn't want to be you."
Are people regularly mispronouncing Homer?
I don't know. So it's fucking constant, and I'm laying the groundwork right now. If you're gonna be one of us. Well, and that's the thing, because fucking Severin calls him Boner like the entire film for some reason. So maybe he is over
take it out with him.
Yeah.
That's not a mispronunciation.
No. Yeah, that's just rude.
That's bullying.
But Homer finally relinquishes Caleb, walking back over to the group as he glances over at them, catching his breath. Jesse climbs into the driver's seat, and as he starts up the RV, we watch as the exterior lights shine into the night as the vehicle reverses out of the hangar, its headlights beaming as it takes off down the road. A pensive score plays, picking up momentum as we find Severin in the dark, a cigarette clenched in his teeth as he traipses through a used car lot, sampling their wares until he settles on an old station wagon. He climbs inside, quickly hotwiring it and following the RV off the lot and down the street. We then cut abruptly to the group silhouetted by the bright flames that now engulf the RV. Jesse presiding over the proceedings as Homer cackles and Severin cheers, firing shots into the burning vehicle. He asks gleefully, "Hey, Jesse, remember that fire we started in Chicago?" But Jesse just insists that they get a move on, adding that he thinks it's burning.
He thinks?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain. And when he said that, I was like, are they fucking talking about the Chicago fire?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I was like, come on.
Yeah. Which again, it's like, hey, remember that fire we started? It's like, yeah, only the most famous fucking fire.
Yes, I remember it.
But the group continues onward, racing against time and the rising sun, until we find them once again in the evening hours. The bicycle that once hung on the back of the RV, now resting atop their new station wagon. They pull into an expansive warehouse under the cover of darkness, the group pouring out of the vehicle, Jesse eyeing Caleb suspiciously as he passes by him and Diamondback with May, Diamondback having to pull Jesse away. Severin climbs atop the station wagon with a holler, announcing, "Bombs away, little buddy," and hurling the bicycle to the ground instead of just handing it to Homer.
Why?
It's giving vampire Big Brother energy.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
A very specific
Yeah.
energy.
Nobody else grew up with a vampire Big Brother? Just me, all right. But Jesse leads them out of the warehouse, with Homer bringing up the rear on his bike and Severin trailing behind, smoking a cigarette with the bag slung over his shoulder. Caleb and May, however, head off in the other direction, creeping across train tracks, May doing her best to hold a stumbling Caleb upright. He admits that he isn't feeling so well, and May answers that she knows, but Caleb insists that she doesn't.
So we're still not paying attention.
No.
Okay, got it.
So you've never been through anything like this. He levels with her that he doesn't understand what's going on here, and though he likes her, he really does, he needs to get home. He apologizes, keeping May at bay as he takes small, measured steps away from her, and May just stands there, chuckling that Caleb won't get very far. But he continues on unabated, and with a wave, he declares, "Be seeing you." What? I don't know.
Why are we... Was he really asleep in the
I don't know. He's like, so all that was a dream? I feel like shit.
This is what I'm saying. We're just watching them have this argument, and then he takes off.
I don't know.
He should be in the old dusty.
But as he disappears into the night, following the length of the track, May mutters, almost to herself, "Before long." But a haggard Caleb staggers into town, pedestrians staring at him as they pass him by. But Caleb spies the bright sign of a nearby bus station and steps inside. I will say on his walk across the street, there's an old theater behind him. And on the marquee, the only film that's playing, I believe, is Aliens.
That's
All right,
hilarious.
yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's also, I keep reading, like I read 4 or 5 different places, but they say that James Cameron has a cameo in this film, or a Cameron-o in this film.
Very good.
They say that he flips off Severin at some point. I've seen this film like 3 times now. I never saw that.
Huh.
So I don't know. Maybe I missed it.
Maybe. It is like kind of universe breaking that this movie is like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude looks just like Severin. And Jesse.
Unless Severin's like, remember that time, Jesse, we were in that space movie?
Last year. But Caleb passes an out-of-order soda machine to approach the counter. He asks the ticket seller, played by Edward Corbett, when the next bus to Fix, Oklahoma is. The man responds a little gruffer than necessary. Where the hell's Fix?
Yeah.
But Caleb informs him that the nearest city is Lawton, and the seller writes it up for him. Gate 12, 15 minutes, $14. Caleb rests against the counter, the only thing holding him upright, as he reaches into his pocket to retrieve a mess of crumpled bills. He counts them, weakly grumbling that he only has $11, with the seller reminding him that the ticket is $14.
No, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Caleb pleads with the man to give him a break. He has to get home. But the seller doesn't budge, remarking that Caleb is $3 shy as he turns away to look at literally nothing in the other direction. It's like, God damn, dude.
This conversation is done.
At least pretend to work on something. Defeated, an increasingly pale-faced Caleb steps away from the counter, his stomach growling painfully as he makes his way over to a nearby vending machine. He pops a coin inside, turning the dial and retrieving his selected sweet. After tearing through the package, he takes a big bite of the chocolate bar inside, only to be overcome with disgust after a few chews, spitting the contents out as he gags.
You can't even eat it, and now you're down to $10.75.
Yeah.
That's true.
Shit.
So you're never getting on this bus now. When Caleb collects himself, he's approached by a man in a suit, played by Troy Evans, who watches him sternly for a moment before asking, "What seems to be the problem, son?" Caleb explains his plight, that he was just a few dollars short for a bus ticket, and he asks if the man can help him out. The man then reaches into his suit jacket, admitting that he only has this. And instead of a spare $1, the man retrieves a police badge, ordering Caleb to come this way.
He didn't do anything.
No.
He didn't, but he looks like he's tweaking out at the bus station.
He does.
He looks bad.
Caleb asks what the problem is, and the plainclothes officer answers certainly. You. The officer hauls Caleb over to a section of lockers, pushing him against them, Caleb dead on his feet as the officer remarks that he isn't looking too good. Caleb admits that he isn't feeling so good, and the officer demands to know what he's on.
Now that I'm thinking about it, he does look bad, and he is asking people for money. Okay, I get it.
Caleb explains that the officer wouldn't believe him if he told him. But with a bandaged hand, still stained with blood, the officer reaches to Caleb's face to check his pupils, and Caleb takes notice of it, the wound seeming to awaken something within him as his breathing changes and he eyes the hand hungrily.
Sorry, officer, but you smell delicious.
Yeah. And it's so weird to me because he just told May, he's like, you don't understand what's going on. And then he's like, I'm basically a vampire.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. It's like, so you know what you are?
It is odd.
Caleb flip-flops a lot.
He does.
But the officer notices the dried blood caked on Caleb's shirt, Caleb claiming that he got cut by something. But through shaky breaths, he beseeches the officer once more. He only has $11 and he needs 3 more to get home. I guess he needs $3.25.
Yeah.
But after a moment of stone-faced judgment, the officer reaches into the pocket of his jacket, fishing out a trio of crumpled bills and handing them to Caleb. But before he releases them from his grasp for Caleb to have them, he orders, "Get home. Be a good boy."
It was nice that he gave him the money. I was dismayed at the way he kept his cash, though. That drives me insane.
I thought "be a good boy" was very inappropriate.
It was weird, but look, he gave him the money.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, dude.
He did cut him a break.
Yeah.
I'm going to Lawton and then fix, so that's fine. Caleb accepts these conditions, collecting the cash and heading towards the ticket counter.
Before we move on, Troy Evans, we have seen this man before.
Really?
Halloween 5.
No shit.
Yes, sir. He's also in The Frighteners. 96.
We have a lot of requests for that.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I've heard great things.
Yeah.
I've seen it once.
Did you like it?
I remember really enjoying it.
But we then find Caleb through the aisles of a dimly lit bus. He clatters clumsily, dragging himself between the seats as the score grows frenzied around him. His face pouring sweat, saliva slickly dripping from his lips, he weakly begs for the driver to stop the bus. He does, and we watch as Caleb departs the bus, tumbling to the asphalt as it speeds off without him. No concern from anyone.
No.
That was my note. Said no one on that bus gave him
The driver's like, "You got it, boss." Fucking just opens the door. Is that kid all right?
Yeah, he looks bad.
But Caleb collects himself poorly, and with the last bit of his summoned strength, he returns to the warehouse in a huddled heap. Inside, he finds May waiting for him, sitting on the back bumper of the station wagon, clearly having been expecting him. He crawls to her, barely able to speak as he reaches her, resting his weary head in her lap as she announces, "You're just in time." He clings to her desperately as she stands up, running her fingers through his hair, and finally able to catch his breath, Caleb closes his eyes as he holds on to her. But May raises her own wrist to her mouth, sinking her teeth into her flesh before lowering her arm to Caleb, directing him to drink this. Caleb doesn't need to be told twice, his trembling hand reaching for May's arm as he presses his lips to her fresh wound, sucking, guzzling, swallowing the blood that leaks from it. As he continues to feed from her, May's heartbeat thumps loudly, and she tells him that she asked him once to listen to the night, but now she wants him to listen to her. The sound increases in frequency and intensity as Caleb imbibes, the pair pressed against each other in an act of satiation and sensuality. When May finally pulls her arm away, Caleb rises renewed to meet her in a passionate kiss. Their lips linger for a while until May guides a captivated Caleb out of the warehouse, imploring him to look out at the night now. Caleb gazes outward in amazement as May repeats that it's so bright that it'll blind you. They then rush off together hand in hand into the evening as the score hums harmoniously around them. But the following morning, the sun rises just behind the peak of the mountains surrounding the Coltons' farm, and inside the farmhouse, Loy lurches awake with a frightful grunt, a night sweat staining a ring beneath his collar. He takes a moment to collect himself, but as soon as he does, he rushes out of bed to check on Sarah. Creaking her door open, he finds her beneath her covers, clutching a pillow in her arms. Relief finds him swiftly, but just as he turns to make his exit, Sarah calls out to him, bidding him a good morning. He asks if she slept some, and she says that she did, and when she asks her father if he slept a little, he concurs that it only was a little. Bad dreams, and Sarah had them too.
I mean, yeah, I bet.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this was like part of like the vampire situation, that maybe your family has sent bad dreams or something.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought it was going to be a little more supernatural, but it's like, no, they're just worried.
They saw him be abducted.
Yeah.
And they're stressed out.
And the police don't seem to give a shit. But later that day, Loy meets with Sheriff Eakers in his office, Eakers surrounded by smoke behind his desk as he crushes a cigarette in his ashtray. Sarah sits on her father's knee, listening just intently as her elder, as Eakers shares that it might not be much, but Highway Patrol found what might be the Winnebago that Loy described to him yesterday. He says that it was left in some field and torched with nobody inside. He assumes whoever was driving it probably switched cars, and he supposes that maybe Caleb has fallen into some trouble. Loy wonders what the sheriff is doing about this, with Eakers offering succinctly, "All we can." This is not enough for Loy, but Eakers calmly turns around in his chair, reaching for a carafe of coffee and pouring himself a cup, as he instructs Loy that he's just going to have to bear with them for a bit. But when he turns back to continue the conversation, he finds Loy's chair empty.
Well, dude, it's like, thanks for nothing.
Yeah. He has collected Sarah, and they're gone.
Yeah.
It was funny that he's like, they torched it and left.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Like, I mean, I know you guys are investigating or whatever, but tell me a little more. That is my son, you know what I mean? Or it could be whatever.
Or
other
were they
than
attacked, or like we don't.
Yeah,
There's
he fall in with the bad crowd. How do you know he wasn't abducted?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but for you to preface that with like, it might not be much.
Yeah.
But the vehicle that kidnapped your son was found torched.
Yeah, be cool.
It's kind of a big deal, dude.
Yeah. Yes.
But we later find the father and daughter conducting their own investigation at a gas station, Loy showing Caleb's photo to gathered customers in a search that ends up fruitless for the moment. He gathers Sarah to continue onward. But that night, Caleb stands inside of a telephone booth right next to a truck stop. He dials into the operator to direct his call, requesting to reverse charges on a long-distance call to Oklahoma. But as the dial tone continues incessantly without an answer, Caleb slams the receiver down onto the hook, exiting the booth. He passes a pair of stalls where truckers are washing their vehicles to continue down the desolate street. Frustration flows from him in a shout, and May appears out of nowhere just behind Caleb, calling to him. May admits that she wanted to go home too, but Caleb reveals that he called and no one was there. He grumbles that this is fucked and that he's scared. And once again, just the selfishness of Caleb. She's like, I wanted to go home too. And he's like, nobody was home. It's like, how about you listen to what she's saying? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No.
You could probably learn something.
Yes.
Like me, though. But this is what I didn't understand. I'm like, I feel like Caleb flip-flops a lot because when we left them, he was slurping up blood. They were cuddling. Like, everything was fine.
Yeah.
And now he's like, God damn it.
That's true.
I'm just like, what happened?
That is fair.
He's going through changes.
Yeah.
You know,
But you're right. They were running off into the night hand in hand.
Yes.
They were.
But then, so I'm kind of wondering, because he says, you know, the long distance phone call, how far are you from Oklahoma now?
Right.
How much time has passed? Has it really just been another day? Because it was daylight whenever they were doing their own research and investigation.
Right. And we have a week.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're moving through.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was also funny to me that he was acting this way when he had only called once.
That's true. Ended his night.
They could be sleeping.
Yeah.
But May implores him not to be scared, urging him to just feel what's inside of him. But Caleb confesses that that's what scares him most of all. He does feel it. He returns to May, who comforts him, promising that he's in her hands. Caleb's fear seems to subside as he asks May, "What'll we do now?" And May answers with a smile, "Anything we want, till the end of time." The pair kiss deeply, a big rig revving its engine as it exits an adjacent parking lot. But just as soon as their sweet kiss concludes, May adds, "But you'll have to learn to kill." It's like, God damn, what a pivot.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Like,
join the kiss.
yeah. She's like,
is
don't
going
worry,
on?
I've got you, but you'll have to. You'll also need. It's like, dude.
She really buried the lead.
Yeah. The score warps eerily at this proposition as Caleb follows May down a dark sidewalk, bellowing that he doesn't want to kill. May insists that the only other option is to die, but Caleb repeats that he is no killer. May instructs Caleb to not think of it as killing, to not think of it as anything at all, and to just use his instinct. She reveals that it's something that you do night after night, and it's only a question of how. Intercut with this conversation, we discover Homer crash-landed on the concrete elsewhere in the city, the wheels of his overturned bike spinning as he rests motionless on a corner.
I was like, I bet this is like cake for Homer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's gotta have it easier
that's
than
the
anybody.
Yeah.
An uncredited motorist passes, but stops swiftly when he sees the boy rushing out of his car to render aid. But as he checks on Homer, he gets a little too close, the boy lurching up to clutch the man's coat with both hands, the score growing frenzied as he sinks his teeth into his throat. We cut away to the spinning wheel of his bike before returning to Caleb and May, the pair seemingly reaching an understanding. Instinct. And somewhere out on the road, we find Severin, rocking a ruffled shirt and a turquoise bolo tie, twirling his revolver on his finger and practicing trick shots before hiding the weapon away when he sees a truck approaching. He slicks his hair back, flashing a sick smile as he holds out his thumb, and the truck stops, with the passenger, played by Teresa Randall, rolling down her window to greet Severin, and the driver, played by Neith Hunter, leans over to get a better look. Severin hoots and hollers, bidding the young women a good evening, and sharing that it would be his pleasure and honor to invite them for a drink. Which is very funny.
It is.
Hilarious. That made me laugh out loud. Dude's got charisma. At least.
Yeah.
But he leans casually against the passenger's side door, and without a second thought, the driver agrees with a jovial, "All right." Severin lets himself inside, the passenger scooting over to the middle of the bench seat, as Severin echoes somewhat sinisterly, "All right." As the truck speeds away into the night, we return to Caleb and May, Caleb admitting that the thought of killing is making him shaky, but May embraces him, noting that the night has its price. That's a very cool line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But out on the highway, Jesse cruises through the evening and across the blacktop with Diamondback nestled closely to him. He wonders where they even are right now, and when Diamondback isn't sure, Jesse motions over to a car stalled just off the shoulder, asking, "Isn't that where I had the flat tire? You pulled over." Diamondback remembers Jesse standing there on the side of the road, stating that she just knew he was trouble, and Jesse confirms that she was right.
That's wild.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that I do appreciate about the film, where we are getting like these little bits of their backstory unveiled.
Yeah.
Because we got it with Homer having been the one who turned May.
Right.
And we will learn more about that, which is really fucked up.
Yeah.
But the pair share a laugh as Jesse caresses her face, Diamondback asking how many years ago that was. He offers a small smack to the bottom of her chin, inquiring, "Disremember, huh? You don't remember the date of that night either, do you?" He smiles warmly, which Diamondback returns, breathing his name as she settles comfortably into his embrace. But out in front of them, in the bright beam of their headlights, stands a hitchhiker, played by Tony Pierce, holding out his thumb. Jesse remarks, "You see what I see?" as he pulls over and Diamondback rolls down her window. The hitchhiker approaches the passenger's side of the vehicle earnestly, stating whichever way they're going, he'd sure appreciate a lift. Diamondback just tells him to climb inside, and just as soon as he settles into the back seat, another highway youth, played by Gordon Haight, approaches from the opposite side, brandishing a shotgun. He racks it, pressing the barrel to Jesse's throat as he overacts. Turn off the car! I was like, come on, dude. I hope that's his only line.
That's the one that Jesse should make roll the cigarettes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right there.
The hitchhiker draws a revolver, pressing it to the back of Jesse's head as he repeats the order. Hey, asshole, my pal here told you to turn off the car. He then leans over the front seat, asking Jesse if he minds if he dances with his wife. He uses the barrel of his gun to open up her jacket, sliding the cold steel of it between her cleavage as he gushes. She's a real looker, this one. Diamondback just looks up at him, a sly smile stretching across her face, and Jesse can't help but grin too, noting that these boys aren't going to look so good with their faces ripped off.
So this reaction would scare me.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll take the next car. Sorry about that.
As you were.
Yeah.
Everything was so easy. Everybody was getting their dinner and it was fine.
Yeah.
And then this happens and I was like, oh, you guys are still.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we're going to take the hard way, but we're still going to eat.
Yeah.
The hitchhiker just rejoices at how lucky they've gotten tonight, telling his buddy that Diamondback is so beautiful and Jesse is so stupid. But as he leans in to force a kiss onto Diamondback's lips, Jesse reaches for the volume knob, turning up the radio. But elsewhere on the highway, Caleb and May ride passenger in the cab of a truck, sipping bottles of beer. The driver, played by Roger Aaron Brown, asks if they're running from home.
Roger Aaron Brown. I thought I recognized him, and I did. He's in RoboCop 2 from 90, Action Jackson from 88, and he does some voice work on Dying Light from 2015.
Oh, I like him.
Uh-huh.
We're going to get into it. He seems like a very nice guy. Probably the nicest guy in the whole movie.
Ever, yeah.
And he's more affected by the bumpy road than anyone else.
Yeah, that I've ever seen in my life. I will say it seemed to me like he was kind of dancing to music that was supposed to be playing.
Okay.
And so I looked in the screenplay and it said that he's listening to Frank Sinatra. And I was like, what if they couldn't afford it? But when they filmed it, they're like, you're vibing to the music.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it looks like he's just fucking.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, this road is fucking horrible. But how are you guys doing tonight? But the couple claims to be running away from home, and the driver says that he has no qualms with this, noting that sometimes home is bad and that he himself has a truck for a home. Caleb compliments his setup, and the driver is pleased to hear it, wondering if he's ever driven a truck before himself. Caleb shares that he's driven a semi, and the driver states that a semi has 5 gears, while his truck has 13.
God damn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He says 2 to the rear and the rest go forward. He chews his gum feverishly, offering Caleb a smoke, which Caleb accepts, and the driver even lights it for him. Caleb struggles to smoke his cigarette, the hunger overwhelming him, and the driver just continues, asking Caleb if he knows how to shift gears. When Caleb doesn't answer, the driver excitedly does it himself, expertly handling the gear shift as he accelerates excessively. But in his preoccupation, he doesn't seem to notice May urging a reluctant Caleb on with her eyes. Caleb then asks, "Can you show me how to brake and stop it?" It's like, and also, can you lean your head to the side?
Can you expose your neck
Yeah, just a little bit. Just enough.
You're too far.
Yeah, too much.
and like wipe it first?
The driver explains the most important thing to understand when dealing with a truck like this. You've got 2 brakes, one to stop the cab and one to stop the trailer. He says that when you want to brake the truck, you have to brake the trailer first and then the cab.
I thought that there was going to be more truck driving in the future of this film. The way that we're getting this, like, this man took it upon himself to give a clinic.
It is a very, like, right now the lesson feels very jarring.
Right,
Yes.
right.
But it does serve a purpose.
Okay,
It
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he even uses terms that he learns.
Yeah.
So it's important.
It is.
Right now, it just feels kind of
It
strange.
just feels like, are we setting up for something?
Yeah.
Because this guy's like, now pay attention.
Yeah.
This is going to be on the test.
But the driver presses each of them, resulting in an audible hiss both times. As he does this, Caleb turns to face May, mouthing that he can't do this. May turns away, somewhat disappointed, but the driver adds that if you don't stop the truck this way, you'll jackknife, the trailer hitting the cab, and then boom, no more truck. No more truck. No more truck driver. He cackles, turning to face Caleb with a smile, but the look in Caleb's eyes is anything but friendly. May nudges his shoulder to spur him on, the driver taking notice of the shift in vibes and asking Caleb if he's okay. Caleb attempts to psych himself up, his breaths labored and attempting with all of his might to push past his misgivings. It's killing me right now. The driver's like, are you trying to do something? Seems like you're wanting to devour me. But Caleb simply can't do it, and he turns away, reaching for the passenger door and pushing it open. The vehicle's still moving. Caleb steps out, tumbling to the asphalt as the truck slows to a stop. Synth rises eerily in the score as May creeps out of the passenger side, and the driver races from the truck over to Caleb to check on him. He jokes, "What's the matter, son? Can't drink and drive?"
Abandon them. Abandon them.
Yeah.
Just drive
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but May is outright fucking nudging him with her elbow. It's like something really bad.
Do
Get
it already.
out of
Yeah, do what?
No shit.
The driver cackles, clapping at his own humor, and he informs Caleb that if you want to be the captain of a boat this big, you gotta be able to stand the water. But the bass plods precariously as May approaches the men, locking eyes with Caleb before cutting them to the back of the crouching driver, who asks Caleb sincerely, "What's going on, boy? You really sick?" Caleb lowers himself, miming as if he's about to retch, and the driver's care and concern is just the opening that May needs, and she seizes it. She reaches her hands for the driver, baring his neck and sinking her teeth into his flesh for a drink. I was like, Severin is doing his own thing.
Right.
So is Homer. Jesse and Diamondback got really lucky with these pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Who is like, let's kill and eat both of these guys.
Right.
Why is it that Caleb's first kill has to be just the kindest human being who ever lived?
But I think that would be hard on anyone. I think, again, if we're going on, I need to eat, but I don't want to kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to bring me somebody super nice?
Yeah.
And then be like, there you go, there's lunch. It's like, this dude,
Come
really?
on.
Maybe she's like, if he can kill him, he
Then
can kill anybody.
yeah, dude, that's really fucked up of May because she's like, we can easily find a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to a bar and the first person to start a fight with us, we eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, no, the bar scene's later.
We got to save that.
We gotta save
Can't do too much.
But rather than feed from the driver, we cut to some time later, beneath the clatter of thunder and flashes of lightning, where May stands before Caleb in front of a row of oil pump jacks. As lightning shimmers against their rusted and rotating metal, a famished Caleb feeds feverishly from May's opened wrist. I thought the pumps were pretty inspired.
Okay.
When you think about what it's doing and what they're doing.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But after a while, May shudders, pushing Caleb to the ground, where he rests, smiling in the dirt. May tumbles down in the other direction, revealing that Caleb could kill her if he drinks too much. But a satisfied Caleb just sits there grinning. That's a really odd reaction.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
milk drunk. He's blood drunk. I feel like we should start laying out all the rules at once.
True.
Because
Yeah.
you never said that.
No.
Yeah.
You let me in the warehouse just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was safe.
Yeah. Now you could die?
Yeah.
And this doesn't come up again. He heeds the warning. He's like, you got it.
I'll stop.
But in a diner the next morning, Loy sits with Sarah in a booth. The father comforts his crying daughter, suggesting that they make a call to someone to see if they know anything about Caleb's whereabouts. He guides her by the hand over to the payphones at the back of the restaurant, putting in a call to Sheriff Eakers. After a brief greeting, Lawyer responds eagerly, "You did? A positive make?"
I'm sorry, I love when,
Yeah.
when movies and TV do that.
Like they're talking to Lassie.
Yes, it's so funny because Jackson will do that when he's on the phone with his friends, and I'm like, "Are you in a movie right now?" He'll be like, "Your mom said no." I'm like,
He wants you to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
it kills me.
What do you
every
mean
time.
I'm the coolest kid you've ever known?
They're like, "What?"
Yeah, I never said that. It's like, uh-huh.
You agree?
Yeah. Cool, you're repeating it?
You're doubling down.
But he asks where Caleb was, learning that he was spotted at a bus station in Hope, Kansas, where a cop said that Caleb was going home. Loy asks Eakers if he checked the house, because Caleb definitely should be home by now, and he reveals to the sheriff that he and Sarah are out in Waco, Texas, obviously heading in the wrong direction. But he tells the sheriff that he'll turn around and head north.
I just real quick, we're about 40 minutes in, and I feel like all I've learned so far is that this dude doesn't want to eat. His family's looking for him, and his like quote unquote girlfriend's getting annoyed with him.
This is all very true.
Yeah. I mean,
my thing is that I don't know what in Loy's mind, what pushed him towards Waco.
yeah. Well, fuck.
Like, you're in a completely different state now.
Yeah.
You're just going where the wind takes him.
I
man.
guess. I mean, I know what Eakers said about the highway and the finding of the RV.
Right.
But they could go in any direction.
That's true.
Maybe it is best to just stay home and wait for a call, which did come.
Yeah.
The one call did.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be in the wrong direction.
Yeah. But in the night, a freight train speeds down a track, each car passing us by until we settle in on one to find our group. A furious Severin pins Caleb to the steel interior with a forearm on his throat. May sobs to Jesse that Caleb just needs more time, begging him for it. This made me laugh out loud because May could have lied for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And saved him some time, and then on their own, she could
Figured
teach
it out.
him. You know.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, he couldn't do it tonight either. I had to do it.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
Well, for me, he needs more time. So has a week passed? He still hasn't fucking ate?
Oh,
I
shit.
guess. I guess so.
He's only feeding from her, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did give him a week, and she's like, I fucking had it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling everyone. But I'm like, jumping back with them again in this car, I feel like I'm missing reels every time we go back to this group. I feel like I've missed something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. I do wonder if there's more stuff that was simply cut.
Right. Maybe that's why it does feel like that, because it is just we're thrown in there and it's just, oh, you guys are already doing something.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Yeah.
But after mulling it over for a moment, Jesse pulls Severin away from Caleb by his leather jacket, insisting, "One more night." Severin ceases his struggling, but he warns Caleb, "That's when I get my wet dream, boy."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, and then I'll eat you.
Yeah.
Homer wonders why they have to wait at all, demanding that they just do it now because Caleb isn't one of them. He then adds that Caleb is so damn ugly that it makes his gums ache.
All right, dude.
It's like, maybe it is a
Fuck.
little bit of jealousy. Jesse is beside himself, telling Caleb that it isn't right for May to be carrying him like this. He lays down the law. Caleb makes a kill tonight, and he doesn't care how it's done, but if he doesn't do it, then he's done. Diamondback leans into the fray, elaborating that done means dead without guile. It means that he'll be real uncomfortable for a long time.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, but okay, so if he's turned and of course May is feeding him, we're allowed to like eat each other still? Like I thought we needed human blood.
Well,
or we're just killing, right? They're just going to kill him. They're not going to.
Well, but I guess, I mean, if you drink human blood, then your blood is like watered down or something because May gets to feed him.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't like.
Maybe they're just going to torture him.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Which is weird because really, what did he do to you?
Yeah, I know. He's just not eating.
Yeah.
That's for him.
He's having a moral quandary. And they're like, we're going to fuck it. We're your family, by the way.
But fuck this guy.
But after Diamondback's warning, Severin seizes Caleb by the jaw, seething. That's your mama talking, boy.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we're still learning the family dynamics. It's like, okay, so Jesse's my father. I guess.
Right, so your dad.
Yes, he's taking notes. It's like Homer's my brother, my little brother. I don't know. But the group exits the train, climbing a hilltop, silhouetted against the encroaching fog and the light cast through it from the tracks. I just want to say it's a beautiful shot.
Yes.
I love it so much, and I do not understand how the poster we got is the poster we got when this exists.
I would have liked to see this better. This silhouette of them. And again, this was what reminded me. I mean, we got vampires, we got the train, Lost Boys, you know what I mean?
I gotcha.
But this was cool.
Yeah.
Seeing this, I was like, I really fucking like that.
I did want to say the director of photography was Adam Greenberg, who also was the director of photography for The Terminator.
Okay. All right.
I saw in an interview, they said that he was apparently highly sought after at the time, and 10 scripts arrived on his doorstep for him to choose from, and he personally selected Near Dark.
Oh, all right.
He said something really cool that I just thought was really neat as far as cinematography is concerned. He said, and especially for a shot like this, he said it's not important where you put the light, but the feeling you get where you put the light.
All right.
I was like, very cool.
Yeah.
The group stands in tableau for a moment, just to make sure they get the shot for the production stills. But at the bottom of the hill rests a roadhouse bar, the neon lights of its exterior beaming brightly into the night as we pan across the establishment. Our group enters the building through the back way, creeping into the bar and standing in a line beneath the glowing green exit sign. A fan oscillates overhead as music pulses from the jukebox, the creatures of the night lit intermittently as everyone inside takes notice of them, Severin surveying them in return and announcing jovially, "Well, I'll be goddamned, shit kicker heaven." Caleb turns to walk away, but Severin snags him by his jacket, suggesting that they head to the bar to get some refreshments. Did he really think he was just going to be able to... I'll wait outside.
I'll be in a car.
Yeah. Driving to Oklahoma.
He's not the brightest.
A teenage cowboy, played by James LaGrosse, stands idly by at the pool table, holding his cue, and a biker, played by Danny Koppel, takes notice of the group as Severin parks Caleb in a seat at the bar, and the rest of the group piles into a booth near the exit. Severin leans over the bar to talk to the bartender, played by Thomas Wagner, but in his eagerness, he spills a shot that sits in front of a patron, played by Robert Winley. Severin just continues with his order. "Give me a couple of shots of whatever donkey piss you're shoveling down these cocksuckers' throats."
He really went in there to show his entire ass.
Yeah.
Like, he is just doing it up, doing the most.
He smirks over at Caleb, who offers him an awkward smile, but the patron calls out to Severin sternly, "Hey, you spilled my drink." Severin suggests for him to just lick it up off the bar, but the patron rises from his stool, countering for Severin to do it instead. Severin just picks up the patron's beer, dipping his chin into the floating foam above the beverage, asking, "Hey, did I ever tell you the one about Buffalo Bill?" The foam drips from his chin, imitating the famous Wild West figure's signature Van Dyke beard. Severin chuckles as the patron looks over to the bartender, his ire seeming to dissipate as Severin announces, "Oh, hell, you're all right. ordering the bartender to give the patron another shot. So is he saying that he knew Buffalo Bill?
Yes.
Because this is a very esoteric reference. Like, I didn't know. I had to look up that. As the bartender pours the liquor, a waitress, played by Jan King, approaches the group in the booth, dropping napkins for each of them and taking their orders. Homer reaches for his napkin, tearing it in half, almost threateningly.
Nobody's concerned they have a child anymore.
Yeah.
Like, well, these must be his parents. I heard that's his mother, at least. But back at the bar, just before the patron is able to down his shot, Severin snaps. Now pay the man.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
This reignites the patron's irritation, but Severin turns his attention back to the bartender, reminding him, that'll be a double shot of your very best watered-down shit right here. Having already had enough, the bartender warns there are 2 ways that Severin can leave this establishment, on his feet or on his back. Severin scoffs, undeterred, and when Caleb tries to break away, he grabs him by the back of his neck and sits him back down on the stool. Severin smirks that those are awfully tough words for a bartender. Caleb reluctantly agrees, and without any other option, Severin declares that if the bartender isn't going to serve him a drink, then he'll just have to drink the patrons. He reaches for the shot glass, downing the liquor, and immediately spitting it into the face of the patron. He grimaces. How can you drink that shit? The patron charges for Severin, but Severin pulls Caleb in front of him to take the blow, a straight right across the jaw. Severin sneers. Go on, hit him a couple of times. I'm trying to show the boy something. And for some reason... the patron is totally fine with beating the hell out of Caleb.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
I was like, what?
He already looks like he doesn't want to be there with them.
Yes.
Why the fuck?
And he's done nothing to you,
No,
dude.
no.
It's the other one. After taking a couple of punches, Caleb coughs, wiping the blood dripping from his bottom lip when Severin lets him go. Caleb fumes. You son of a bitch. Before returning the favor and driving a hard right into the patron's gut, following it up with an uppercut, which sends the man flying back across the bar, clattering onto the pool table. Severin throws his arm around Caleb, shading his own eyes from the light as he grins and pretends to squint at the distance that the patron traveled. Caleb wonders, did I do that?
Stop.
Did I do that? It's like Urkel isn't even around yet,
No,
dude.
not yet.
But Severin just wipes at the blood on Caleb's face with his finger, sucking it as he chuckles. Did I do that? The group returns this laughter from the booth, even May lowering her head to contain her laughter. Severin sums it up. Good times. As Caleb returns to his seat at the bar. Good times existed, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But the waitress returns to the booth with their drinks, the rest of the group seated, except for Homer, who lays on his stomach across the table like a teenager on a telephone. When the waitress drops a bottle of beer for Jesse, he corrects. Just the glass. She confirms that this is what he wants as she returns the bottle to the tray, and Diamondback smirks at Jesse as he rises from his seat, telling the waitress that she's shaking all over. He pulls her closer, wrapping his arms around her, admitting that he would be shaking too if he was her, but then again, he's not her. Caleb watches from the bar as Diamondback whips a butterfly knife back and forth, Jesse chuckling as he settles back into his seat with the waitress, commenting that her skin is as soft as a preacher's belly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a new one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone knows a preacher's belly is the softest thing.
Notoriously soft.
But she responds sultrily. Don't you want the beer? Diamondback answers for him, though. No, honey. The drink's on me. She reaches for a handful of the waitress's hair, pulling it back to bare her throat, and she drags the blade of the knife through her flesh, spilling her blood. She releases her hold on her, the waitress clattering to the floor as May cowers next to Jesse, but Homer rests casually with his back to the wall, vibing to the music on the jukebox. Diamondback tosses the glass over to Jesse, who holds it beneath the waitress's gushing wound as he catches his breath. He slams the now-filled glass down on the table, May reaching for it, as Diamondback wipes the blade of her knife clean on the back of her jacket.
That was pretty good payoff of him ordering the empty glass.
Yeah.
It
That was
was.
good. Y'all have done this before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do you have to have so much fun with it?
They're having a blast, and every patron in this bar is really giving them the room to have a blast. They're just like waiting for their turn.
It is funny because after that, you would think they would flee, but they're like, well, let's see where they're going with this. Who knows?
This isn't really happening.
Yeah, it's not. It's a dream, The teenage cowboy and the biker stand nervously at the other side of the room, shaken by what they've just witnessed, and the bartender barely summons the courage to ask, "What do you people want?" Jesse, bathed in the neon light, creeps across the bar and over to the back door, closing it as he answers, "Just a minute of your time, about the same duration as the rest of your life."
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
They're really good. I gotta say, they know what they're doing. He leans casually against a payphone as Severin hoots and hollers at the center of the bar, breaking out into a jig. Behind him, the bartender reaches into a cooler just out of view, stealthily snagging a shotgun and quietly breaking the action. But Severin approaches the biker, clucking like a rooster right into his face. This causes the biker to raise a switchblade defensively, but Severin just bats it away, seething. "You know what?" And the biker hilariously asks, "What?" Severin wraps his arms around the biker's neck, revealing that this is the most fun he's had since he nailed the biker's mama in the back of his daddy's truck, and he was there watching, too.
All right.
Pushed up against the wall, the biker promises, "I didn't see nothing, man." He's like, "Whatever sexual relationship you have with my parents is none of my business."
I'm not a party.
No.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Everyone's a consenting adult. But the bartender sneakily snags a couple of shells, loading them into the gun, as Severin continues. "To tell you the truth, I think he liked it. I know she did." The biker warns, "Don't fuck with me." So why I'm thinking say at this point.
It's just like, where are we getting these lines from?
I don't know. But his hands suddenly cinch around Severin's throat, Severin stumbling back, choking, gasping for air, only to burst out laughing, having never lost the upper hand. He steals the sunglasses off of the biker's face, placing them onto his own before squeezing the biker's cranium, the buzzing neon sign behind him reflected into Severin's dark glasses. He asks, "You know what I said to your mama?" I said, "Shh, this ain't gonna hurt." The biker struggles as Severin squeezes tighter, the biker growing weaker until his neck snaps, blood pouring from his ear as Severin repeats, "I said, shh." He looks the biker over, lamenting, "I hate when they ain't been shaved," before sinking his teeth into his throat and feeding on him. I read that line was improv.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Fever by the Cramps sounds over the jukebox as Severin reaches his fill, gagging and burping as he raises his head from the biker's fresh wound. The bartender struggles to shut the shotgun as Severin prances around the bar, sucking the biker's blood from his hands as he declares in a cackle, "Finger lickin' good." He laughs as he saunters back to Jesse, chuckling, "Hey, Jess, I think I smell like a dead polecat." But just as Caleb stands from his stool to step away from the bar, the bartender draws his shotgun, and without hesitation, he blasts Caleb right in the gut, tearing a hole right through him, blood and tattered flesh hanging from his torn shirt. I don't know why Caleb got it.
That was very funny, though. It's like just hanging out with them.
Uh-huh.
I can see why you want to go home.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Yes.
why you're staying.
No.
It reminds me, like I've said multiple times on King of the Hill, when Bill kept getting slapped when they were taken hostage by Mad Dog when Bill was doing nothing.
It's like, who's the scariest one here? Caleb grunts in surprise and pain as Severin approaches him, inspecting the wound as he declares, "It's a kick, ain't it?" Surveying its severity, Severin squeals, "Holy shit!" After commenting that Caleb looks like 40 miles of rough road, he suggests that he sit this one out, setting him down on another stool and offering to take it from here. The bartender's frantic fingers search desperately for another shell as Severin lowers his sunglasses to peer at him. He covers his eyes with them again, his grin sinister and crimson as he leaps onto the bar, the bartender cowering away as he clumsily attempts to load the shotgun.
He looks amazing.
He
Yeah.
does.
That shot, it's like, okay, like I get it.
He's too cool.
Yeah.
And just, again, the ownership that he has of this role, like he is just fucking killing it every second that is given to him.
When he's on screen, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking off mic, and as much as we did not enjoy the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I said that if Chop Top had more of this kind of energy, I feel like it would not have been so irritating.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Because Severin is sinister. He's fucking cracking jokes.
Right.
He's being an asshole. He's being loud. Like, it's got everything that did not.
It's a very different
You know?
vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not obnoxious.
No.
Not annoying. It's,
Nah, I'm lame.
no.
I could tell.
I can't help myself.
But the bartender glances up at Severin, who declares that he has a new nickname for him, Mr. Pig Knuckle. His boots shattering the glasses that line the length of the bar, he smirks. "You having a little trouble with your hog leg there?" And it's in this moment that the bartender is finally able to load the gun, locking it. But before he can raise it, Severin screeches, holding onto a wooden beam above his head as he raises his boot, kicking the heel of it across the bartender's neck, slashing his throat with the sharp point of his spurs. Back and forth, over and over again, until the bartender clatters to the floor, a dead and bloody mess.
This was so good.
It was.
Yeah.
The fact of like the music seeming to dip and the sound that we hear is just that slashing.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
Just shove Caleb's face in there.
Yeah. See, that's what
They're
I
like,
understand.
no, he's got to do it on his own.
Everybody seems totally cool with killing.
Yeah.
Like, why does it matter? If you love May, she's supposed to be your family.
Yeah.
She loves Caleb, so let's,
Yeah, he's going to go to waste.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Caleb. We did it for you, but eat.
Yeah.
We need to watch you eat.
Yeah. That should be what it is.
Maybe even that, but they're like,
No.
See, and I don't know.
they brought him in here to get his ass whooped, to get
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
And then Severin's like, I'm trying to show the boys something. Show me what?
Yeah. You guys don't like me?
Yeah, seriously.
I already knew that.
But the patron finally wakes up on the pool table, staggering to his feet and away from an approaching Severin. He stumbles for the exit, only for Jesse, Diamondback, and Homer to head him off at the pass. Jesse stands stern, red and blue lights cast across him as Homer crosses over behind the patron. Diamondback offers a distraction, glancing upward and telling the patron that there's a fly on the ceiling. Caleb looks up to the ceiling even before the patron does. Fucking dumbass. But as the patron lifts his head to see if there is in fact a fly on the ceiling, because that's the most important thing going on in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. No
It's
shit.
a dingy fucking bar. There's probably several flies.
Yeah.
Regardless, while he's distracted.
What?
Yeah, oh my God, dude. Homer draws a revolver, firing 5 shots into his spine. He crumbles to the ground, Caleb glancing over nervously at Jesse, who gestures over to the last remaining soul in the bar, the pool-playing teenager.
Why are you still here?
I don't
know.
know. And it is funny to me how Homer used none of his vampirism.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Pull that again.
Yeah, he shot a man in the back. But Caleb just sinks into his chair, leaving May to stalk over to the poor kid, the camera arcing over his shoulder as she reaches him, imploring him to dance with her. Severin rests against the bar, the bartender's shotgun slung over his shoulder, looking like an absolute badass. May and the teen slow dance together, sweat pouring from the boy's face, and he trembles fearfully in her embrace, but she shushes him, humming along to The Cowboy Rides Away by George Strait, which now plays through the speakers of the jukebox. Caleb finally makes his way over, standing in anxious anticipation of what he's meant to do, and May turns to him with encouragement. He's for you, Caleb. But before Caleb can prove himself, the teenager breaks away from May's grasp, rushing past her to dive through a glass window and out of the bar.
Dude, you should have done that 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's just the moxie to do that is pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
At that point, can't we just let him go?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he deserves
Yeah.
it.
We're
Not
gonna
this
skip
group.
We're gonna skip town anyway.
Yeah.
And Caleb's not going to do it.
No, he's
No, no.
We already know. The window shatters in slow motion as the boy rolls to his feet in the dirt. But inside, May directs Caleb to go after him, and he does, leaping onto the ledge of the window, bathed in the red light of a hanging Marlboro sign, and setting off in pursuit.
Correct. Technically making
Oh, no.
Near Dark, 1987, a Giallo film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, no.
T. Yeah. T, yes.
Don't confirm yourself.
Sometimes you have to.
Uh-huh. But the crew stays behind, crafting Molotov cocktails and torching the bar and the bodies within it, Severin dragging the bartender's body across the shattered glass littered over the bar. Homer dances to the music as the other cohorts toss their burning bottles, the flames igniting and rising all around the mess that they've made of the place. Once it's sufficiently engulfed, they all make their exit from the establishment, Severin crashing through the window of a parked van to procure it for the group. So according to Kathryn Bigelow, this bar scene was shot just near Magic Mountain, and they had to build the bar itself from scratch so they could destroy it.
Oh, wow.
And so the entirety of it was completely fabricated for the production. But she said that they finished the production with this scene because it was so complicated. And they said that despite that complication, it was a fucking blast.
I bet.
I bet.
Yeah.
And to me, it's of course Bill Paxton,
Yeah.
who makes everything just incredible in this scene. Even things that we were laughing and joking about, it works.
It does.
It does.
It makes, such an iconic section for this film.
Right.
I think that watching this film, this is the biggest takeaway from it.
Oh, yeah.
But outside, the teen runs for his life, the camera following him frantically until he takes a tumble through a row of bushes, Caleb finally catching up with him. He lifts the kid to his feet, clutching his collar as the young man begs for his life. They lock eyes, Caleb feeling the fear radiating from his petrified stare, and Caleb can't bring himself to kill him. His hands let go of the fistfuls of the teen's shirt, and he staggers away, racing off into the night as Caleb stands there alone in the field.
Caleb sucks.
He does. He's not a good vampire.
No.
Wasn't a good human either.
No, he's not good. The group rides up to him in their new stolen vehicle, Severin pulling Caleb into the back and tossing him over to May, who holds him closely. Jesse rages from the driver's seat. "You fucked up for the last time, boy." Caleb can do nothing but apologize, and Severin tosses a gun to his lap, suggesting for him to do his sorry ass a favor. But Jesse realizes that they'll have to worry about Caleb later, and instead orders Severin to black out the bulkheads and fantail of the van because the sun is on the rise.
It's just, it's so funny to me that Caleb still just returned all weak and hungry.
Yeah.
They're like, God.
You continue to disappoint us.
Yeah.
And it's funny that he's just like, I'm sorry.
Dude.
He should have been like, no, I totally like ate that guy, but I'm just still hungry. I think I might be the head vampire.
Yeah.
I think I need more than anyone.
It's wild. I need 2 kills a night, actually.
But as the head vampire, you should do the killing part. It's just funny because he just stays fucking up. It's hilarious. Because, like, they already ate tonight.
They did.
The whole point of going to the bar
That's true.
was for Caleb. And he just got his ass whooped and shot. It's really funny.
Homer fumes that they should just leave May's boyfriend behind on the side of the road to get a little suntan. And Severin agrees. But Diamondback backs Jesse's plan, imploring them to move their ass because here comes the sun. The group works tirelessly to cover the windows as Jesse drives them forward, the leader badgering Caleb, noting that the goddamn kid that he saved is probably running straight for the law, certain that they're going to be combing the area for this very vehicle. He curses Caleb and May, telling them that they both fucked up. Caleb cowers away from Jesse, who rises from the driver's seat, but May counters, "You gonna keep talking, Jess, or you gonna get us out of the sun?" Jesse very reluctantly returns to his seat, the rage still boiling within him. We watch as the van makes a mad dash down the road, kicking up dirt as the dusk dies away. So something I thought was very interesting, Kathryn Bigelow was talking about it on that featurette.
Mm-hmm.
She had said that she was really enamored with the idea of these vampires as a nuclear family.
Okay.
She called them nomadic anarchists living out of society, but feeding off of it to survive.
Oh.
Okay.
Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
But what she wanted to do was to kind of get the actors to work together to flesh out their relationships. And so a lot of their dynamics weren't necessarily concretely defined in the screenplay. She made it more collaborative to where they could kind of choose how they interact with each other.
I love that.
Okay, yeah.
One of the ways that she did this was she created a blackout boot camp. And what that was bringing the actors into a space and having them work together to black out the room from the sun.
Okay.
And they kind of learn how they interact with each other and learn who does what and how they do it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
She said that it took them, because I think they did it like a dozen times. And so it went from being like 15, 20 minutes to being 30 seconds that they block out an entire room.
Damn.
And so it was a way of kind of physicalizing their relationship rather than just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it shows and it works because they do feel like a lived-in found family.
Yeah.
They really do.
But the group finally reaches an old motel on the side of the road, Jesse urgently heading inside for the front office and very impatiently ringing the bell at the desk. The motel manager, played by Billy Beck, stumbles to greet him, wiping the sleep from his eyes. Jesse requests a rental for the night, but the elderly manager struggles to comprehend what he's asking for in his stupor. Jesse bares his teeth in frustration, repeating himself as he slams a couple $100 down on the desk, demanding a key to one of the rooms. The manager finally understands, but Jesse watches nervously as he retrieves the key, sunlight slowly creeping across the front desk from the window, the shadows dissipating in the light of its bright, encroaching beam.
That looked really cool.
Yeah. The motel manager holds the key in his hand, but he stares into Jesse's face, wondering, "You were here once before, weren't you?" Jesse just wraps his hand within the safety of a scarf to reach through the sunlight to snag the key, and as he backs away toward the exit, he answers with a smirk, "Yeah, I get through here about once every 50 years. Make me a reservation." And I'm like, maybe he does.
Yeah.
But in the motel room, we drift from a pearl-gripped pistol on the bed and past each of the sleeping crew. A knock on the door startles Severin awake, however, and he reaches for his pistol, only for the knocks to grow louder and harsher until a voice calls out, "It's the police!"
immediately.
Yeah.
And this is Caleb's fault.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Directly tied.
Yes.
There's one shot that's fucking hilarious because we see the teen from the Roadhouse resting in the back of the cruiser. It's like, and I told them. But inside, Severin wakes Jesse and Diamond back, the group assembling, and each of them arming themselves for what awaits them outside. Homer lurches up from his bed in the bathtub to enter the motel room. He watches as Severin opens the blinds to get a better look at what they're dealing with here. But as he does, the sunlight pours in painfully, singeing the side of Severin's face into a crisp as he winces. Fucking daylight! Homer cries, begging for it not to be true, and Jesse snaps at the boy, pointing a gun directly at his face and saying, "Pull yourself together, old man."
That's wild.
Yeah. Diamondback urges Jesse to leave him alone, cradling Homer in her arms as she leads him away from the hall. They all load their weapons and retrieve goggles from their pack, putting them on. Caleb sits dumbfounded on the floor until he finally snaps into action, reaching for one of the weapons in the bag. But before he can get his hands on one, Severin presses the barrel of his rifle to Caleb's cheek, snarking that he'll give him this end of the gun. He's like, "Except you, El Rey."
It's like, what the hell?
What do I do, man? But Jesse doesn't have time for this, and knowing that they need all the help they can get, he orders Severin to give him the gun. So Severin does so reluctantly, warning Caleb not to shoot his pecker off. Outside, the officers, played by S.A. Griffin, Bob Terhune, William T. Lane, Gary Littlejohn, Paul M. Lane, and Eddie Mulder, stand at the ready with their weapons drawn, warning that they have the place surrounded and ordering the group to come on out. Tension rises as they're given their last warning, but with no intention to follow it, Severin sneers, "Checkout time!" before firing his shotgun, blasting a hole through not only the door, but the officer standing on the other side of it. The sunlight pours through the opening, burning brightly on Severin's belly and causing him to crumble to the bathroom floor. A firefight ensues, each bullet that tears through the bungalow creating a small beam of sunlight which casts across the darkness of the space.
Somehow, this reminded me of both The Devil's Rejects
I knew you were going to say that.
and Fright Night.
Fair.
Huh. Okay.
I feel like visually it is a very cool thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Kathryn Bigelow was talking about it, just this idea of the bullets mean fucking nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cops have no idea, but each shot they fire is creating the real problem.
Yeah. You know what? From Dusk Till Dawn, too.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in From Dusk Till Dawn, I had not seen Near Dark yet.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I had no idea.
Yeah.
But they exchange fire, the teen hoofing it from the back of the cruiser when the bullets climb its chassis, and Jesse waving away a fire that ignites on his forearm from the encroaching sunlight. The crew checks in on each other as they take cover and return fire against the police, but Caleb crouches at the other end of the room, reaching for the curtain to peer through it and discovering what appears to be a clear path to their blacked-out van. He alerts Jesse that he's going to try to make a run for it, Severin scoffing at the idea in his signature fashion, and Jesse considering it a death wish. But Caleb insists that it's their only chance, requesting loudly over the gunfire, "Give me the keys, Grandpa." Jesse hands them off, retorting, "Go ahead, we'll cover you, son." It's like, so I guess they're making up?
Yeah.
We're a family. But Severin cackles that Caleb's going to get himself killed, and after Caleb gives May a goodbye kiss, he crashes through the window, wrapping himself in its curtain as he creeps across the dirt and over to the van. An officer catches sight of him immediately, turning to blast him with his rifle, catching him in the calf and the lower thigh as Caleb clatters to the ground, dropping the curtain. I bet the officer's like, what the fuck? He's like, do you think we can't see him?
Yeah.
Smoke rises from Caleb's flesh as he catches a bullet in the spine, but he rises to his feet, and to the bewilderment of the officer, he shields himself from the sun once again with the curtain, which suddenly catches fire.
But why did that catch fire? The curtain's not a vampire.
I think it only happened because it looks really cool. Caleb is able to make it to the van, reaching his flaming hand for the driver's side door, unlocking it and letting himself inside. He twists the key in the ignition, smoke surrounding him as sunlight pours in, but he perseveres, honking the horn incessantly as he speeds toward the motel bungalow and crashes right through the wall. The group rejoices that he made it, and they pile into the vehicle, ordering Caleb to drive. He puts the pedal to the metal, bursting right through the front of the building and smashing the cruisers that block his path forward. The crew supplies cover fire through the blacked-out windows as Caleb maneuvers the vehicle out of the parking lot and onto the road. Once they're free, they cheer wildly, Caleb lowering the curtain to reveal his singed but smiling face as he clasps hands with the seemingly impressed Jesse. But we find them in the night, ditching the maid van and absconding with another station wagon, making a beeline through the dark for the Godspeed Motel, renting another room and piling inside together. As Jesse unloads their blackout materials, Diamondback takes a seat at a small table in the corner of the room. She tells Caleb, "Back there, you did good." I guess they didn't talk in the van. For the 12 hours they've been driving. But Caleb smiles, grateful for the compliment, as a proud May wraps her arms around him. Severin sits smoking a cigarette, and after a moment of contemplation, he reaches to loosen the spur on his boot, tossing it over as a gift for Caleb.
Oh, he's in it.
Yeah.
Caleb thanks him, and Homer extends his hand for Caleb to shake it. But as soon as Caleb reaches for it, Homer pulls it away, running his fingers through his hair. But with a smile, Homer sticks his hand out again for Caleb to shake it properly. Under the golden glow of a hanging light fixture, Jesse tells Caleb that he's bought himself some time for what he did for them. This wasn't enough?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're never going to accept me.
No, dude.
It's saving everyone's life.
Yeah, just feed me now.
Yeah, he's like 3 days.
Yeah.
Make that 4 months detention.
But Caleb leans forward, sharing that there's something he's been meaning to ask Jesse. How old is he? Jesse answers, "Let's put it this way. I fought for the South." Caleb ponders, "The South?" And this prompts Jesse's addendum. "We lost."
Yeah. Nobody liked
Boo!
it.
Nobody liked it.
Yeah. Fuck these vampires. Severin's like, "Hey, you remember what we did at Ford's Theater?"
It's like Severin, shut up.
Yeah, God damn it, dude. Quit fucking citing specific moments in history. But the group bursts into laughter, and Jesse settles into a seat at the table, loading bullets into the pearl-handled revolver. May suggests for Caleb to join her outside to take a look at the night sky, and as they depart, Severin takes a seat across from Jesse, suggesting that they play a little 5-card Russian roulette, and Jesse is up for it. But outside, Caleb fastens Severin's spur to his boot with his still blackened hands, May remarking that it almost feels like Caleb is one of them now. Caleb smiles that it does, but he asks what that makes him exactly. If you don't know,
I know.
we're done, dude.
Again, where are you?
May admits that she isn't exactly sure.
What?
I don't know. But Caleb takes a seat next to her on a stone wall, giving her a tender kiss before asking, "It's good though, right?" May isn't so sure. Caleb asks if she misses the sun, but May settles into his lap, lamenting that it's been so long that she doesn't really remember. Caleb inquires how long, and May recounts that it was spring, 4 years ago. She was still in high school, and Homer told her that he was in 5th grade and needed help with his homework.
Did anybody else think it was going to be longer ago?
What, 4 years?
Yeah, that.
She's pretty new, dude. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense that she's like, the night is still like really amazing, right? And everyone else is like, get in the van.
Yeah.
Caleb smiles, calling Homer a little weasel. But from below, May breathes. Do you miss the day? Caleb mulls it over for a moment, pondering before answering. No, I can see better at night. May smiles in his lap as he leans down to give her another kiss. This might be a little unpopular to call a child this, but Homer's a fucking piece of shit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's not a child.
Well, then fuck him. That's insane.
No.
She was out of the goodness of her heart going to help him with his homework, and he fucking bites her?
But I feel like that's how Homer, like, that's got to be his strength. In the body that he's stuck in. What else is he going to do? Come over here because I fight. Like, no. You're going to pretend to be helpless, and kind people are going to help you, and then you eat them.
But then he didn't.
Homer sucks. He just sucks.
He didn't kill her, though.
Yeah, he didn't.
Well, clearly, like, there's this simmering, like, he's in love with her, or like he has a crush on her. That's been because he's like, what are you, jealous? Like, that's maybe he was like, oh, like, it can be me and you, and forgetting that he looks like he's 7. I mean, I don't know.
That's 7. He looks older. That's
He's
wild.
a baby.
But yeah, if that's what it is, I don't. Come on,
I don't know why
dude.
else wouldn't he? Because she didn't turn Caleb, and Jesse didn't turn Diamondback. It's like almost a romantic, like, now me and you can be together thing. So I don't know.
You know, that was one thing Kathryn Bigelow mentioned as far as everybody kind of having like a secondary thought regarding being a vampire, except for Severin. She said Severin's just the perfect vampire.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing else to him. He doesn't think about anything else. But there are, like, Diamondback and Jesse, they're clearly in love with each other.
Yeah.
Homer's got his weird thing going on with May.
Yeah.
And May, of course, with everything that she's got going on here. So it is, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but I don't know. The more I learn about Homer, the less I like him.
He's
Not
not
a
great.
fan.
No. But back inside, we pan around the table. Jesse, Homer, Severin, and Diamondback all gathered to play 5-card Russian roulette. Jesse gives Homer a puff of his cigarette, asking, "How many you want, little boner?" So everyone calls him this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's why he's like, look,
Yeah.
let's get one thing straight.
Homer.
I was, though, like, I know that Homer isn't a child, but, like, that child's a child.
The actor?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
smoking.
Well, it can't be real.
Like, it's fine.
He's a real vampire. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that part's true. But the crew settles on 3 cards, and after Severin deals them, Jesse notices something. A card stashed inside of Severin's sleeve. He calls him out for cheating, and they laugh, drawing their guns on each other and handling it all good-naturedly. But almost immediately after looking at his cards, Homer folds, opting instead to get some fresh air. As he steps outside, Diamondback warns him to watch for the sun. But the boy steps outside in his oversized coat, taking a drag of his cigarette. And Diamondback has like a very motherly kind of...
Yeah, relationship. Yeah.
Very interesting. But the crickets seem to be his only company until his solitude is disturbed by the sound of someone on the opposite side of the building slipping a coin into a vending machine. A small hand presses the button for Coca-Cola, retrieving it from the opening at the bottom as Homer creeps around the bushes that line the property to discover that the thirsty stranger is none other than Sarah Colton.
So at this point, I'm side-eyeing her father. You watched your grown man son get kidnapped, and you're going to let your little girl... Go get a Coke.
Yeah.
Pick me up a pack of smokes. Like, what? Why the hell is she out here by herself?
That's a great question.
It was, I don't want to say funny. It was odd. You know, I did chuckle because it was that.
'Cause it's like, come on.
It's like that kid's small.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What the hell?
He's like, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
Well, I gasped because I was like, dude, Loy is really good at tracking people to the specific motel.
Yeah.
That's fucking
They didn't
good.
even know they were going to
No.
be
Yeah,
there.
no.
And Sheriff Eakers is like just hanging out at the station.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't
They weren't doing it.
No.
They were very pressed.
Sarah scolds Homer, telling him it's impolite to stare as she cracks open the can and takes a sip. But Homer approaches her, introducing himself and asking her name, which she supplies. He asks what she's doing out here all alone at night, and Sarah just offers, I do what I want to do when I want to do it.
Okay.
Goddamn. Maybe that's what she told Loy.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't go out there. He's like, listen, Dad.
Let's get one thing straight.
There's one thing about Sarah Colton. But as she turns to walk away, Homer suggests that they could watch some TV, which piques her interest. She turns around, asking if it's a color television, and learning that it is, she follows Homer back to the motel room, hand in hand. They enter the motel room, and everyone takes notice of them, Homer holding the little girl's hand and breathlessly introducing his family to Sarah. It was very funny to me because at this moment you can hear on the radio in the background these two people talking about how it's going to be a really sunny day tomorrow. And it's like, it could be foreshadowing as to what happens.
Right.
Or the radio announcer is also a vampire and he's like, guys,
Yeah, be
watch
careful. Sarah remarks to the strangers that they sure do stay up late. And Severin smiles, clenching a cigarette in his teeth as he attributes it to odd hours. But Homer guides Sarah over to the television where the pair sit together. Severin then snarks, "Who ordered pizza?" I was like, oh my God, are they going to fucking eat? All of them eat Sarah and kill her?
I think that's what's at least on his mind.
Yeah.
But as Homer switches on the TV, wiping the dust from the screen, Diamondback calls out to him. He ignores her at first, but when she repeats herself in a very motherly tone, the boy turns to face her with his teeth clenched, asking annoyedly, "What?" Diamondback crosses over to a couch near the television, asking Sarah if she's here with her family, and she tells her that she's here with her daddy. Diamondback adds a follow-up question, asking which room they're in. And when Sarah gives her this information without hesitation...
Sarah.
I know.
It's like, come on. And Loy should have...
No,
I mean, but Loy,
no
nobody knew...
conversations.
But nobody knew that we were going to meet some vampires here,
Yeah,
dude. That was never part of the plan. But upon hearing this, Diamondback nods to Severin, who snaps to it, exiting their motel room. On screen, however, the television broadcast draws to a close with the conclusion of the national anthem, and when it dissolves into static, Homer reaches frantically for the knob, switching stations, certain that something else has to be on. But without anything else on TV, Sarah sees this as her cue to leave, excusing herself, even against Homer's pleas for her to wait. But as she heads for the door, it opens for her, and she bumps right into the returning Caleb and May. Caleb gasps in disbelief, dipping down to hold his little sister by the shoulders as he breathes her name in a smile. At first, Sarah isn't as moved by the moment, announcing instead that she ought to punch his lights out. But she then holds her brother tightly in a hug, Caleb admitting that she probably oughta. Caleb explains to Jesse and the others that Sarah is his sister, and Jesse sits confused, wondering what the hell she's doing up at 5 a.m. How about what she's doing here at all?
Yeah.
So, shouldn't a kid be asleep or something? But before Caleb or Sarah can answer to that, Severin returns with Loy, forcing him into the motel room as the score sizzles suspensefully in the background. Severin closes the door behind them as Caleb rises to face his father. He explains that he tried to call, but Loy lets him know that they've been out a lot, driving, trying to track him down. Caleb mutters, "Dad," to which Loy rightfully responds, "Son." But Jesse seizes on this word, standing up from his chair as he repeats irefully, "Son."
I don't know why Jesse seemed surprised at this, because we've already established that Sarah is Caleb's sister.
Yeah.
And he went to go get her father. and he says son, and then Jesse's like, God damn it, I knew it.
That's true.
That's how it works.
And she's like, I'm here with my daddy.
Yes.
That's right.
Why was he surprised?
I didn't know if it was less surprise, more, not jealousy, but like, Caleb's my son now.
Oh, okay.
Damn, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
He really did win them over.
Yeah, well, but for a couple days.
Yeah.
But that if I'm committing to this, let my dad and my sister go.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm here. You're right. Whatever. Old father, new father. Just let him go.
Hug it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, let him go. Let him go.
But Severin throws his arms around the Colton men, antagonizing. Round and round and round she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. He reaches back to lock the door as he threatens, but it's about time for that big old wheel to stop rotating. Jesse stalks over to them as Loy wonders who these people even are. Caleb explains that he's with them now. He switches his attention to the approaching Jesse, pleading sincerely for him to just let them go. They're his family. But Jesse just scoffs a smile when Loy asks Caleb if he'll be coming with them. Caleb just replies lamentfully, no, but you're going. When Caleb attempts to usher Sarah over to their father, Homer reaches for her, crying out mournfully. Tears fill his eyes as he pulls Sarah to the other side of the room, insisting that she's his now. Caleb calmly appeals to the boy, telling him that he's going to have to give Sarah back, but Homer reveals that he's going to nip her. He reminds Caleb that he turned May, then May went off and turned him, but now he's going to turn Caleb's little sister. He says that will make them even Steven. Caleb levels an awkward threat. You let her go or I'm going to have to hurt your body, Homer. I was like, all right.
He's still learning
Yeah. How to be a vampire, how to threaten.
how to be intimidating.
Not my body.
I guess I get it, but dude, again, I know your body's tiny, but you're not a kid.
No.
Yeah.
You should know better than this.
Diamondback steps in defense of Homer as Severin seizes Caleb from behind, warning him to remember which side of the bread his butter is on. He holds Caleb tightly as he shouts for them to just let his family go, but Jesse wonders. The question is, would they let us go? He says that they've been tracking them, and now they know their faces. He then orders the crew to kill them. But Loy suddenly draws a revolver, demanding Severin to let go of Caleb, which he does, feigning fear at the sight of the weapon. Loy then orders Homer to let go of Sarah, too, but Severin is over the charade, reaching once more for Caleb, who warns his father that the gun isn't going to do them any good and to just put it away. Jesse creeps closer to Loy, who cautions him not to come any closer, but Jesse persists, prompting Loy to fire a shot right through his stomach. Jesse stops for a moment, holding his hand beneath his mouth and coughing up the blood-covered bullet that was fired into him. He places it into Loy's shirt pocket with a rather cheeky, "For you." He reaches for the revolver, wrenching Loy's wrist backward as he cries out in pain, the score pulsing around them. But in the midst of the tense encounter, Sarah bows Homer in the stomach, rushing for the door of the motel room, unlocking it and tearing it open. The bright light of dawn bleeds into the room, cast harshly against the crew who cower against it, covering themselves up and diving away from the door. But Caleb wraps himself in a blanket, following his father and his sister to their waiting vehicle and climbing into the back of it as Loy speeds away. Through the partition in the back of the vehicle, Caleb calls out to his father, urging him to drive, but Loy just demands to know what the hell is going on. Caleb admits that he doesn't even believe in himself, but he reveals that he isn't a person anymore, that he doesn't know what he is. He's sick.
Sick?
Well, I mean, that's pretty sick. What is going on?
It
Yeah,
is
I mean,
sick.
it is,
It's also funny to me that he's like, I don't know what's going on.
After everything you've seen.
I think he's got a clue.
Yeah.
He knows.
Do you think this is one of those things like we talk about with some zombie films where it's like, well, zombie media doesn't exist in this universe?
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Because otherwise, I'm like, how the fuck do you not know what you are?
Yeah.
But still, I'd be like, I'm a monster.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
something.
Even if I don't have the word vampire.
I have to drink blood, and the sun would kill me. These are all important things to share with your father, I would think. But Loy suggests that they take him to a hospital, and Caleb insists that he'll be dead if they do. Loy just laments that those people back there weren't normal, that normal people don't spit out bullets when you shoot them.
That's true, Dad. Good job.
So Loy's a genius.
Yeah.
Caleb chooses his words carefully. I'm bit. I got a bite. And this is when Loy says, we're going to get you to that hospital right away. It's like I just fucking said, Dad.
Yeah.
This is where Caleb got his listening skills from.
Fair.
There you go.
Fair.
Yeah.
But Caleb screams that he isn't going to go to no goddamn hospital. To demonstrate his dire circumstances, he holds his arm out into the sunlight, demanding to know if a hospital can fix this. Loy watches as his son's arm sizzles in the sun, but Caleb glances around the back of his father's truck, his eyes scanning medical equipment and materials. He then turns to his father, asking earnestly through his pain, Dad, you ever transfuse a person?
Just a couple things.
All right.
The way that the transfusion thing ends up shaking out is fucking hilarious. Secondly, why did this man have no reaction to his son being burned by the sun?
Yeah.
Because he's like, and it just, he's like, straight to the hospital.
Yes, of course.
It cracked me up because it's like, dude,
The sight of it.
he's like, I've seen enough. Like, it's just not even registering.
I wouldn't know what to say.
No.
But it wouldn't just be hospital.
Yeah. It's like, you're my son, and I know you've never done that before.
No.
Like, something horrible is going on.
No reaction at all. I agree.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a holy shit. Nothing.
He's like, hands at 10 and 10.
Yeah. But we cut to Caleb lying shirtless and sweaty on the cold steel of an examination table at the Colton farm. He's lit solely by a solitary light bulb hanging overhead, writhing in great pain as Loy affixes a tourniquet to his own arm, jutting a needle and tubing into his vein and draining it into a glass bottle on the ground. He rests a comforting hand on his son's forehead until the proper amount has been collected, at which point he affixes medical tape to his son's forearm, sticking a needle into him and allowing his blood to run out. As Caleb grows weaker, Loy wipes at his singed face with a wet rag. A pensive score plays in the background as Loy keeps watch of his son, breaking into sobs when all of his blood has leaked out through the tubing, and cradling him in his arms in hopes that the transfusion will be successful. We fade to black. Later, Sarah enters the room to check on Caleb, sliding the large metal door of the building open, the sunlight pouring in and across Caleb's body to no consequence. She calls out to her father, who stands at Caleb's side, walking over to embrace him with great relief. Caleb awakens, surveying his skin in the light with great wonder, realizing that he's been cured of whatever he once was.
Is that funny to anybody else
No,
that it
yeah.
worked that seamlessly?
I was surprised, and I'll be honest, I don't know how any of that stuff works, you know, but it worked in the movie, and that was very easy.
It was very
easy.
It's very easy.
Wouldn't he have had to completely drain him of blood? And what blood did he put in there?
He put his own blood. His father.
All?
You need a little, and then you start making it some more. Your body's like, oh, this, yeah, I know what that is.
It doesn't feel
Why do we make that all the time? I mean, I don't know.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, they're fucking vampires, dude. I don't know. There's enough going on that's weird. Maybe medical science isn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. But yeah, like, I understand that he, it just doesn't feel like there's enough blood to
carry on.
still be
Yeah, it
alive
was just-
and completely replace his sense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. One thing I will say, Bigelow had said that the transfusions that were used in Bram Stoker's Dracula kind of inspired this, but the transfusion in Dracula was more just to keep Lucy alive, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
This is actually, I think maybe for one of the first times, used as a legitimate cure.
Right.
And a cure that works.
And it works.
It
like
did
it
work.
does.
It was just it was very easy.
It was.
Yeah.
It was like overnight, and I'm not a vampire anymore.
I think something might have worked better. I don't know. Maybe if there was some kind of hint at it before, and maybe there was that I just didn't catch.
Yeah.
Because he was just like giving like antibiotics to the farm animals.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like if there was something else that leads more in that direction.
Yeah.
Because it's very strange for Caleb to look at all this medical equipment and be like, hey, you ever done a blood transfusion?
Yeah.
And his dad's like, no, but
Yeah.
But I
sure.
better
That could work.
figure it out.
I'll try for the first time on my son. But the curse lifted from him. Sarah hugs her brother tightly on the table, Caleb assuring her that he's all right. And later, in the bright light of morning, Caleb walks hand in hand with Sarah through the fields, lifting her to rest on his shoulders as he carries her onward. She asks him if he's okay now, and he promises that he is, and that he'll tell her all about what happened someday, but to not ask about it until that day. Sarah understands, and having been returned to normal, he asks if she wants to go ride one of the horses, to which Sarah excitedly agrees.
I'm thrilled for Caleb that this all worked out.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're acting like there isn't a band of vampires out there that knows where you live.
That's the thing.
yeah.
They literally kidnapped him from this farm.
That's
yeah,
right.
and they're like, let's ride a horse. It's like, no, dude, like you guys are probably in a lot of trouble. Y'all didn't end on good terms.
No. But that night at the dining room table, the Colton family enjoys their meal and small talk about the changing seasons. Loy notes that the days are getting shorter, and Caleb supposes that that means the nights are getting longer. Not good. But when Sarah is finished eating, her father directs her to take her dishes into the kitchen and says that he'll be upstairs to read to her. But Sarah requests that Caleb read to her instead, and her brother assures her that he'll be up in a minute. As she exits the room, Caleb and Loy interrupt each other awkwardly, clearly wanting to tell each other something, but breezing past it when a loud squeaking noise is heard from outside. Caleb assumes it to be their swing, and he offers to apply some oil to it. His father tells him that it can wait, but Caleb says he wouldn't mind the fresh air. He places his hat on his head and walks outside, crossing over to where the swing sits, the squeaking growing louder and rhythmic. But when he finally reaches it, off of the seat and out of the shadows steps May. She smiles at him, greeting him warmly, but Caleb approaches her slowly, cautiously, and when she takes a step towards him, Caleb defensively inches backward. May's demeanor changes, asking him sorrowfully why he left. He then stands silent for a moment, the words seeming to escape him, his eyes reaching for an answer, and the only one he can find under the dim evening is to reach for May desperately, to bring her closer to him in an embrace.
They try to kill your family, man.
They sure did.
He's like, but damn.
I don't know. That'd
We
be a
have
deal
a
breaker for
connection,
me.
I guess.
Well, yeah, he's still sweet on her.
I don't know, but you're trying to turn my little sister.
So, well, but I mean, that was more Homer.
Yeah, I know,
but I mean,
but
that's where it
the
gets.
whole-
Yeah,
whole
but y'all
group
are all
kinda got into
I
it.
think that this just isn't gonna work out. I think deal breaker is the right word. We need to go our separate ways.
All right. And again, I feel like this moment might work better if I had more of their relationship.
It's that.
You
It's
know,
that.
Yeah.
like where it's like you can't live without each other.
Yeah.
But here it's like, I saw you spin, like there's maybe been like 3-4 scenes where you know.
Yeah, she was even annoyed with him when he wouldn't eat.
Yeah. And she fucking told on him to her dad.
Yeah,
Which
she
is
did.
like, what the hell,
Yeah.
dude? But the pair kiss deeply. And as soon as they do, May pulls away, confused when she realizes that Caleb is warm. His skin is warm. Caleb answers simply and sincerely that he belongs here with his family, but he does confess that he misses her. May asks him concretely, "What's it gonna be?" Caleb can only look away from her earnest gaze, prompting May to back away from him, running away and into the shadows that are cast across the property. Thunder rumbles around them as Caleb calls out to her, but May just grows smaller and smaller in the dark and the distance. He then retreats back inside, and with his father fast asleep on the couch, he climbs the steps to his sister's bedroom. He calls out to her through the darkness, but with Sarah nowhere in sight, his only answer is the harsh wind that billows the curtains of her opened bedroom window. So, Sarah has been kidnapped.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about May to not know that she's not involved.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking right now is that this was the ultimatum. He didn't go with her, and so now we're taking your sister.
Or she went to distract him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, why are you taking my sister again? Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Why are you guys acting like everything is peaches and cream? Like, that didn't just happen.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm cured. So, like.
Was that literally the next fucking night?
Yes.
It felt like it.
Feels like, yeah, it seems to be. It's like, dude, they're coming for that ass.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But Caleb races out into the night for his old truck. But upon discovering that the tires have been slashed, he also checks his father's truck to discover the same thing.
They were thorough.
Yeah.
They were. And again, what part is May playing?
Yeah.
Like, she can't not know any of this, right?
There's no way. And this is, again, why this is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're not doing this.
And
that you didn't snatch
yeah,
my little sister.
you have to know something. Even if you objected to it, you know.
And then you didn't warn me.
Right.
Left with no other choices, Caleb saddles up the horse that spooked May several nights ago, ascending it to ride through thunder and lightning in pursuit of his sister. This is a fucking Western.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. This should have just been a Western. Like, you could have even had the horse react to him funny because he goes home and he's like, what's wrong? You know what I mean? Because it's his horse. Then he leaves, happens with them. Anytime he tries to come back after, then that's how he could even know that he's cured. Instead of the blood transfusion, he goes back to his horse and the horse is like, oh, yeah, you're normal again.
You know, that would have been kind of cool is if they bring him home and through the barn you see the horse freaking out.
Yeah.
Or something.
I mean, it's a Western.
Yeah. He rides through a haze of fog, their figures silhouetted against the street lamps that surround them. He then makes his way through town, which appears eerily empty, the click of the horse's hooves against the asphalt seeming to be the only sound for miles. But suddenly, the horse rears up in fright, bucking Caleb off its back and onto the ground with a thud. Caleb collects himself from his fall, but out of nowhere, Severin leans into the frame just above him, smiling sickly. I'd sell him. Caleb demands to know where Sarah is, and Severin offers to give him a hand to help him up. Caleb very foolishly accepts this hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, maybe I was wrong about that.
It's like, thanks, Severin. What do you think?
They're Spur brothers.
Yeah. He did give him the other one.
He did. But as soon as he's reached his feet, Severin launches Caleb down the road. He lies crumbled on the ground, Severin apologizing for what he's just done, but he admits that Caleb disappointed him, and now he's gonna pay. First, he says, Caleb is gonna give him back his spur, and then he's gonna knock his tonsils out of his asshole.
You really want the spur back?
Yeah.
You mean we're really not friends anymore? The score rises tensely as Caleb staggers to his feet, stalked by Severin at a distance. But just then, a tanker truck appears at the end of the road, Caleb rushing clumsily in its path and screaming for the driver to stop. Once he does, Caleb hops onto the driver's side door, demanding for the trucker to keep going before they get killed. The driver, played by Don Pugsley, issues a warning. I'm going to give you to the count of 5. 1, 2, 4. But before he reaches 5, Severin draws a revolver, cocking it, and firing right through the windshield and into the center of the driver's skull. As he slumps over dead in his seat, Severin shouts out excitedly, "Bullseye!" This death seems to affect Caleb more than we've seen anything affect him in this film. And he sits frozen in his seat, apologizing over and over before commandeering the vehicle and heading straight for Severin. He's like, "I'm so sorry." It's like, what the fuck, dude?
You didn't know that, dude.
No, dude, we just met him just now. And he was going to beat your ass.
Yeah, no shit.
He was mourning the other truck driver.
That's true. He's like, "Man, we've done a lot of things we shouldn't have done." But in the road, Severin urges Caleb onward, offering him kisses and telling him to come on. It reminded me of the Joker in Dark Knight when he's like, "I want you to do it," or whatever. It's like, what the fuck? Hit me. It's like, oh my God. He's really into it.
I don't want to hit you no more.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, you kind of
That's why
ruined
Batman
it.
was like, "Oh," he swerved. It's like, I can't do that, dude. I don't want to be a party to this. But Severin gets his wish, Caleb colliding with the creature and running right over him. Caleb cheers wildly when it seems the villain has been vanquished, but the celebration is short-lived when Severin reappears, far worse for wear, his wounded mess of an arm dragging him up the front of the cab, the flesh of his face shredded and glistening crimson in the low light of the street. He punches his fist through the hood of the cab, seething, "Hey, Caleb, fasten your fucking seatbelt." He cackles as he tears through the metal, tearing out parts and hoses until he's surrounded by a cloud of smoke. But as he climbs fast for the windshield, Caleb remembers his impromptu lesson from the driver that May killed for him. What not to do to break a big rig. He engages the brakes in improper order, whispering to himself, "Jackknife." He then bails from the vehicle, tumbling across the street as the trailer slams into the cab, Severin screaming wildly on the hood as the tanker explodes in a ball of fire, the flames engulfing him and leaving nothing but his single spur sinking to the ground with a small jingle. His screaming and his hand raised remind me of Dr. Strangelove. But what a great death for this character.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic.
And coming back to even just the small throwaway line of them sitting there and him telling him about driving the truck, it did come in handy.
It did. And at the time, you're just like, what? This seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's leading directly to this.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to mention. I forgot to say earlier. Moment in the screenplay that came up later that I never even caught before.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever Caleb was at the bar with his friends at the very beginning, everybody had a drink but him. And he's like, "You're supposed to give me a drink." And the guy goes, "Well, you're going to have to feed your own bad habits."
Okay.
And that's been the crux of this entire thing.
And he's like, "I'm just not going to do that."
Yeah. So even when he was human before,
He never did it.
No.
Damn the consequences. One last thought about Severin, though. The way that he looks here, the makeup at the end was so good.
Yeah.
They said that it was a 3-hour application job that he had to do. And it's funny. I didn't know all the stuff that you said about them, like, I guess, terrorizing people, or Lance Henriksen terrorizing people to get into character. But Bill Paxton, in one of the interviews on the featurette, he said that there was a train that would go by at the same time every night. And when he was in that makeup, there was like, I think he called him a conductor, but one of them standing on the outside of the train. And as the train is rolling by, he runs up to it screaming that there's been an accident and they need help.
Wow, dude.
And he was like, we scared the shit out of him. And then he's like, "Well, I'm fine. You should see the other guy." It's like, dude, that's fucked up.
That is. And I'm sorry, you got really far with what you're saying to be able to say that part.
It's like, dude, but the fact that, like, and then learning what you said about them, it's like they were just fucking like,
that's funny.
We're gonna get these characters by any means necessary. Whoever we have to traumatize along the way.
And I want to say, of course, the makeup is really, really cool looking.
Yeah.
But in what fucking world do you watch this movie and you're like, that's the only thing that needs to be on the poster?
Yeah, that's true.
I would even argue yeah, this makeup is awesome, but him standing on the bar with the blood on his face,
Yes.
that's
Okay.
better.
It's
That
a
looks
better-
better. It's a more iconic visual.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like we're coming down really hard on the poster.
Whoever designed the poster is just crying. But Caleb rises to his feet, and we rise with him, from his matching spur on his boot up to his hat, which he removes, batting the dust away as he stands silhouetted by the ever-exploding tanker. Caleb collects the spur, placing it into his pocket with a sense of finality, seeming to forget that Severin wasn't alone in this whole thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
like,
That's
what are
just
you
one
doing?
down.
Yeah.
Every single thing they do, it's like, whew, glad that's over. It's like, dude, no.
As soon as he turns around, he stops dead in his tracks when he sees Jesse and May standing at a distance in front of the beams of a station wagon's headlights, each of the doors resting wide open. Jesse calls out, "It's time to pay the fiddler." As the tanker burns behind him, Caleb cries out, demanding to know where his sister is. But Jesse just explains instead that he taught Severin everything he knew, but not everything he knows.
That was a good line.
Yeah. He threatens that the last sound Caleb will hear on his way to hell is going to be the sound of his guts snapping like a bullwhip. Caleb shouts that this has nothing to do with his sister and to just leave her out of this. May then begs Jesse to let Caleb come back, but Jesse refuses, saying that it's far too late for that. Caleb comes closer, the shots framed like a standoff in the Wild West, Jesse staring at him with unblinking eyes. Shadows shift in the back of the station wagon, and we realize that it's Homer restraining Sarah in his grasp, assuring her that everything's gonna be all right and not to be scared. But from behind, Diamondback approaches Caleb, unbeknownst to him, as she draws a knife silently. But Sarah is able to break away from Homer, bashing him in the forehead with a flashlight and rushing out of the car. She cries for Caleb to watch out, and he immediately ducks, just as the throwing knife leaves Diamondback's hand. It flies through the air, finding a home right in Jesse's mouth.
What?
I did laugh because after it hits him in the mouth, Diamondback goes, Jess. Like,
Yeah.
he does this all the time. He's always eating these knives.
Yeah. What the fuck?
But again, I'm fucking pissed off at May because she's watching this whole fucking thing happen and she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
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 It takes Sarah to fucking get away from Homer to save her brother.
It is just confusing too. You know that he's human again. Let him come back. What? You know he's not going to. Why would you even suggest that?
I don't know.
And then, like you're saying, she's not helping. You're just there. Dude got a knife in his mouth. What the fuck's happening?
There's too much
Yeah,
happening.
I don't know what's going on.
But Jesse just tilts his head backward, drawing the knife from deep in his throat and spitting out a mouthful of blood as the score shrieks. As Sarah reaches Caleb, he takes her into his arms and breaks out into a sprint. Diamondback cheers him on sarcastically. "Go on, Caleb. Make a run for it." She cuts her eyes back to Jesse, flashing a sick smile as he raises his revolver to aim down sight for Caleb. But just as he pulls the trigger, May bats his arm away, causing him to miss.
There you go.
Finally!
Yeah.
Yes.
He seethes at May, furious, but Diamondback urges them all onward, back into the car. The couple piles inside, Jesse honking his horn at May, who looks back and forth, unsure of which group to join, before eventually taking her seat in the back of the station wagon. Caleb has made a mad dash with Sarah, nearing the fields of their farm as he's pursued by Jesse and his remaining crew. I laugh because that horse was like, seriously, fuck this. dude.
Yeah, oh no, yeah.
I'm not sticking around at all.
We've already established this.
But Caleb loses his footing and takes a tumble into the dirt, dropping Sarah, but encouraging her to run without him when she reaches her feet. But the station wagon catches up with Sarah, seizing her in the blue dawn of day against Caleb's distant cries and protests. It's like, this could not have gone worse. They're just like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Caleb chases after the car as it speeds away, the golden glow of the sun rising at the horizon. The crew scrambles to black out the windows with tinfoil and spray paint, all while attempting to keep Sarah restrained. May cowers beneath a thick blanket, but after a moment of contemplation, she tears Sarah away from Homer's clutches, bailing out of the back window of the station wagon and landing harshly on the dirt road. I want to say the stunt person did great work for this moment, but in this shot, the child broke her fall.
Oh, no, yeah.
Sarah's dead. There's no way.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I noticed that too. That was fucking crazy.
It was.
I know you're trying to escape, but you really did throw that kid under you to land.
Absolutely. Best intentions, but goddamn. But Homer tucks and rolls out of the car, chasing after May and Sarah, the boy singed by the sun, his flesh smoking and catching fire as he reaches for Sarah from a distance. He begs, "Wait, Sarah!" as his face is overtaken by flames. Caleb catches up to them, covering May in his coat to protect her from the rising sun. But back in the station wagon, as the sunlight reaches them, Jesse can find no other words except, "My God." Diamondback grabs his hand, interlacing their fingers as Jesse makes a U-turn to head for Caleb, May, and Sarah. But Homer crumbles in the center of the road, his body ablaze as he suddenly explodes into a ball of fire.
Doe!
Really?
Anyway, I meant to mention earlier that the way that they were doing the smoke, they had said that they would what they would typically use to pull something off that looked like that visually was kind of like toxic fumes. And so with kids on set, they couldn't do that. So what they did was they hooked up prosthetics to the part that I watched. They were specifically talking about when Caleb kind of saved the day at the motel.
Yeah.
But this is how they did it for everybody. They would apply prosthetics to the face and hands and poke a bunch of holes through them. They would have tubing running underneath them hooked up to cigar smoke.
Oh.
And so the smoke that's coming off of them in the sun is just cigar smoke. And they said that they would stink like cigars for a week, that the smell was awful and insistent and like followed them everywhere. But that visually, it did exactly what they wanted it to do.
I don't know why I can just visualize some dude puffing on a cigar underneath, blowing it through a tube.
They're like, come on, Bob.
Yeah.
Smoking faster.
Smoke, we smoke.
But I was like, that's interesting. Like it's a simple way, to get around using fumes that the kids couldn't be around.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that would suck too. Because he said that when he took the prosthetics off, they were like yellow.
Oh,
like his
wow.
skin was all stained. Yeah.
It's
like, because it's cigar
yeah.
smoke.
Nicotine, yeah.
Yeah.
It works for me very well visually.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I kind of was surprised at a vampire's death being an explosion.
Yeah.
Because I know that Severin died similarly, but I thought that was the tanker.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But with
yeah.
this, it's like, goddamn, you're not used. I remember in a lot of vampire properties or whatever, it's a lot of crumbling or a lot of blood and bleeding from orifices and stuff. But a fucking explosion?
It's intense.
It is.
Well, they get so hot.
Yeah. But Caleb clutches Sarah tightly, with May sufficiently covered on the ground at their feet. But the car keeps coming, the sunlight leaking in through the windshield, the couple catching fire, their flesh burning as black smoke belches from their opened windows. Caleb seethes. Roast. And they do. Jesse's eyes unblinking as he glares through the windshield at Caleb, and a smile creeping across Diamondback's decaying face as she breathes her last words. Fun times. The car pulls off from the road, bursting into flames beneath power lines, Jesse and Diamondback succumbing to the true death. But sometime later, Caleb slides open the door to the large shed, where May rests inside on an operating table, having undergone a blood transfusion with the aid of Loy. Caleb rests his bandaged arm on his hip. It made me think of that meme. It's like, who do you think gave you the blood? I was also puzzled that night that May came to visit him, he didn't explain fucking any of this.
Yeah.
That it's possible.
Right.
You can live as a human being again. He's just like, this is my home.
Yeah,
You know?
And what about this blood? Where'd we get that from?
Who do
all
you
from
think gave it to you?
The one with the bandage.
Yeah.
the men in their family have a lot of extra blood, I guess. came in clutch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But as the sunlight pours into the room, May awakens with a gasp. She feels the warmth on her skin without any consequence and smiles, catching her breath, unable to understand what's happening. But Caleb approaches her, telling her that he brought her home. May admits that she's afraid, and she seeks the comfort of Caleb's embrace, but he tells her not to be afraid and not to worry. It's just the sun. They hold each other tightly as the camera presses in on them, and we freeze frame until we fade to black and the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of Near Dark?
I know I had few words to say up top, but I did. The movie was fun. I think maybe the lack of an appropriate response to things made it just kind of feel casual. Like when things happen and they're just like, oh, okay. Or, they just roll with it. It's like, oh, what? Like, why are we not more upset about this or scared or worried or like, it's just, even that, I'm getting kidnapped and Jackson's like, hey, Dad, these are my friends. You live with vampires? What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to give more of a reaction, even if not, oh, you guys are going to kidnap us? You got to kill your family now. He's just there. Yeah, he's just there. Like, it just feels very casual, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun talking about it, like a lot of fun. And I can understand, why a lot of people like this movie. I think I expected a little more. You know what I mean? I wanted a little more of, if we're going to do this love story, let's do this love story.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to do a Western, let's just do a fucking Western. You know what I mean? Bill Paxton is great, of course. But it is that when he's there, we're watching him. And then other than that, we're just watching what's going on. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe I was really excited to watch this. I like vampires. I like a lot of the cast. I love Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe was just expecting it to be a little bit different than it was, and that doesn't detract from what it is. It's just not what I wasn't expecting this like day in the life. Follow them around. We're all going to split up and grab our own kills and then meet up later and bully Caleb or whatever. And I feel like Caleb he was not a likable protagonist to me, and he and May's relationship really didn't do it for me either. And that sucks when, like we said before, a lot of the plot and a lot of, kind of everything hinges upon believing that there is at least a connection between the two of them. But the scene in the bar was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it was really fun. I feel like there's just something missing, and I don't know exactly what it is. But I think that this, and like you said, John Paul, I had a lot of fun talking about it. I think I appreciated it a little bit more watching it the second time and kind of having that expectation set of what the movie is. I was able to enjoy different aspects of it.
Okay.
But I mean, the story itself, the narrative, it wasn't fully fleshed out enough for me. I think that I would have preferred it to either be a little bit more mindless or a little bit more story driven and fleshed out, if that makes sense. It's in this weird almost limbo to me, but I do think it's a really fun movie. I'm surprised that it took all of us, I know you've seen it, but it was recently.
Yeah.
All of us this long to watch it because I think that it is fun and it was a fucking blast to talk about.
No, I agree. I think that the thing that is missing for me is simply fleshing out that romance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's having all of these elements and hinging so much on it, but not giving it the depth that it deserves.
Yeah.
I think that something could have been solved if maybe, I don't know, if we kind of switch it up and maybe May is from the town that Caleb is from and he went to high school with her and she disappeared.
Okay.
Right.
And now he's got this history of having known her and he sees her again and they reconnect and this is what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because them meeting on this night and then immediately being like, okay, no, we're ride or die, the two of us.
Yeah.
It's like after that first horrible fucking date.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
no
that
shit.
for me because
You know?
it wasn't like this instant like cosmic attraction. It was like, this dude don't fucking leave me alone. Why are we going to a horse? Horses hate me. You know what I mean? Like, it was very weird and he was very pushy and like it wasn't a good first impression.
Yeah.
Tried to bite my ice cream.
Yeah.
Like,
No
that
shit.
too.
You know, I feel like that's the only thing because as we've said, so much of the story is dependent on this working.
Yeah.
That needs to be so developed so that everything else makes sense. Why would they need to keep coming back to each other? Why does May, after Caleb disappears, go all the way back to the farm to find him?
Yeah.
Because I don't see enough.
I don't
Yeah.
get that from her.
But I think that everything else around it is so good and enjoyable. I think that the atmosphere of it, I fucking love the cinematography.
Right.
Tangerine Dream kills it with the score.
Yeah.
And the performances. Lance Henriksen is frightening.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think Bill Paxton, we've sang his praises because he deserves all the praises in the world. The late, great Bill Paxton.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess we can slide into ratings. We're kind of having that conversation anyway.
Right.
I think it's just that part of the narrative that is a bit of a detraction for me. But literally everything else I kind of love about this film. I like these Western elements being put in there and the way that they're used throughout. This bar scene, like a saloon. This ending, like a standoff. Jesse and Caleb, like these adversaries where, I mean, it's like the white hat and the black hat.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so clearly defined and so cool. This light and darkness, this vampire element being added into it and interplaying so well with these old themes.
Right.
It's fantastic. But it's just wanting, you know, maybe if it was just a little bit longer,
Okay.
Maybe.
you know?
A little more time with them.
Yeah.
Time to breathe and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Give it an hour 45 and then have a few more scenes with Caleb and May.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel kind of sad for Loy and Sarah because they are kind of relegated to this weird like B-plot side quest because, like, until they need to be here.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're kidnapped.
Yeah, oh no.
But they are worried, but it is that. They're
Yeah.
just to the side.
But no, I mean, there is a lot to enjoy. And I feel like as far as the vampire films that I've seen, this is a really good one.
Okay.
There's a lot here to enjoy, and there's taking so many interesting paths with this very familiar creature because it is different. They're not worried about holy water,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
crucifixes, none of that stuff. It's just sunlight, and we have this really cool element of the found family where
Yeah.
they have been together for hundreds of years, potentially, learned to live together and have their own really interesting dynamics. So, I mean, I don't know. There is a lot to love, but there are a couple of things that I'm like, oh, man,
Yeah.
just a little bit more and it would have been so much more. But for me, out of 10 enchanting and enthralling evenings, I am going to give Near Dark 7.5 enchanting and enthralling evenings out of 10. I think that this is great, and it is honestly kind of underrated, as a lot of people say.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it's not available anywhere to watch.
Yeah.
That is weird.
That is.
And I hope that people find a way to watch it. It may or may not be on YouTube right now.
You know, maybe look.
But I will now open the floor to you.
No, I agree, man. I had a lot of fun talking about it, and I think the things that you stated for me, they are just, I wanted more and we don't have that. So it does, I don't, not that I don't care, but there isn't enough to make me care because we do have this family. We don't learn a lot about him. We do get Bill Paxton's character, Severance.
Yeah.
How cool. We don't know anything about him. You know what I mean? Other than he's cool. Homer, we get that tiny little, hey, old man, whatever, but that's it. I want to know if you're going to give us these characters, give us these characters. I'll be honest, too. I don't like them using firearms. That was very weird. I don't know. I would have liked them to turn into bats or something. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm old school with it. You know what I mean? I want them to wear a suit and invite me in or whatever. But, I mean, it is a different take on vampires, and I did appreciate that. I just wish that we would have learned a little more about them. And even like you're saying with the love story, give us a love story that I can get behind, not one where this dude sees some chick that he thinks is hot, then he's going to take her out in the middle of nowhere, then she takes him out somewhere else, then now I'm going to take you to see a horse, but then no, you don't like horses, but then you're going to run away and go home. It was
and then he lassoed her.
He was going to tire her the fuck up. Why? I don't know. Yeah, no.
And then she bit him.
Yeah, she's trying to get away. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't sound good when you say it like that.
On paper.
Yeah.
No.
But it is just that. We are doing this love story, and at the end we get that, oh, you guys are able to be together. It's very convenient, the blood transfusion thing that works that easy. But it is like, okay, well, but I never felt the magnetism between them. I never felt that you're yearning to get back to Caleb. He is like, I'm glad I'm here again, but damn, I can't stop thinking about May. It was none of that.
He's just having
was ready
dinner.
to-
Oh yeah, he was fine. Oh, this pot pie's great.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
I'll be up to read you a story.
Yeah.
What? He was ready to move the fuck
Yeah,
on.
it was done. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of it feels very casual for me. I like the family thing. I like them not being hurt by anything other than that or whatever. But I don't know anything about you other than that's it. That's all you. It's just like, oh, but what if something else happens? You won't learn about that. Oh, okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
you know what I mean? It was just for that. I wanted a little more of that. So I do agree with the runtime.
Right.
Or even moving some stuff around and just giving us a different point of view of something else or whatever to make it, like I said, make me care a little more. I want to care about Caleb and May.
And maybe have it a little torn, because whenever his family shows up with this new family, maybe give Caleb some reasons beyond May to want to have this turmoil.
Yeah.
Maybe I do want to stay with them.
Yeah, instead of like, well, I have a girlfriend, but I got to be a vampire, or I go back with my family who loves me. Damn.
A girlfriend I met a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago, yeah.
And my family who doesn't make me kill my own
Yeah.
and beat my ass.
It's a hard choice.
I don't know, dude.
But again, like all the things you said, I could see why people really like this. For me, I think I want I need a little more. You know what I
Right.
mean? I want some more. But for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, enchanting and enthralling evenings, I'm going to give Near Dark a 6.5. I didn't I did have fun. I had even more fun talking about it. But it is just that us pulling out more things and talking about it. It's like, wait, I don't know how much I still like that.
Yeah, I think you both make some really excellent points. I think that we've kind of said throughout how we feel, what works for us, what didn't work for us. But overall, I do think that this is a really fun film. I'm glad that we finally watched it and that we covered it. It does kind of feel like a hidden gem for the simple fact of this cast and crew.
Yeah.
It's just kind of shocking that it's not talked about more. There are visuals that were kind of striking that will stick with me. But again, it all comes down to this relationship that's kind of the crux of the story, and it's just really not there.
Yeah.
And for this, it does have the vibe of like this day in the life. This is what we do. We're all going to split up and get our own kills. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that it would be cooler, like you were saying about it being longer, maybe if we got to know them a little bit more. And the way that Laura's kind of, breadcrumbed throughout, it's pretty cool. It's just like I think that maybe that's what it is I just want more of that. Because like you said, John Paul, the like low reaction on things, the way things move so quickly, it's just like, oh, we're like going to the grocery store. And it's like, no, we're killing people. I feel like the only scene that kind of had that weight was the scene at the bar. And maybe that's why I liked it so much, even though they kind of were being NPCs and waiting.
They were her, yeah.
waiting to be.
They were good henchmen.
Uh-huh.
They
They knew.
Yeah.
But Like I said, I still think that this is a fun film, and I had a blast talking about it. We took a recording break while you were gone, and I think this was the longest we've ever gone without recording in the whole 5 years of the show.
I think so.
Yeah.
And this episode coming back was an absolute fucking blast.
I'm
And
glad.
I had a really good time.
I'm still jet lagged, but I hope that everything.
No, you did great.
Thank you.
But having said that, I did bump my score up 0.5 because I really did. I think that talking about it, I do have appreciation for things that maybe I didn't fully when I watched it before, and I just had a really good time talking about it. So on a scale from 1 to 10, enchanting and enthralling evenings, I am giving Near Dark 7 out of 10 enchanting and enthralling evenings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one tonight as well.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate Near Dark, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at JuggaloDaddy84. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll gain access to over 200 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Pod Mortem and Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, family is much more than blood. Those who stay with you in the darkest times are the ones who shine the brightest. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special thank you to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo! Yeah.
Incredible work. A special thank you to
Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Thomas, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Sydney Smith, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rezak, Molly Gerhard, Armand Spasto, Aaron Nagari, Eggy, William Berry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Liz Heath, Spencer Montavo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newding, Alexis Roberts, Dan Laveau, Itzy M., Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Ellen Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Towton Watson, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G., Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J., Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Brandon, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O., Marissa E., Henry F., Megan M., Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Jason Hanovan, Erica Morin,
Tris Wynn, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A., Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E., Maggie H., Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy, Ori81 Bariqua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J, Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K., Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanities Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H., August, Vengeance Spirit, Jenny May, Glittery Fab, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D., Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J., Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, D., Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Spencer, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Niecy Nay, Erica, Jason X Rules, Karen Burrows, Aaron Norman, Stephen Rogers, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Tabitha Thomas, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater, 52, Jordan McCarthy, Christy Michelle Wilson, Rosalind Harnias, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H.,
Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L., Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M., Ghastly Grandad, Megan and Alexandra Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Sunny Jonas, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook, The Face Flowers, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M., Brandon C., Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renland, Ashley Poe, Najee P., Seth Schaff, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz, Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Randy Tucker, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Jasmine, Stu Corbett, Daniel Smith, Brick O, Pull Out Lebowski, Jaden Nicole, Jody Grody, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X Bleeple, Joel Miller Apologist, Jaylene Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Claire Cantwell, Renee Hart, Meg Like Sleep, Final Boy, Alani, Nose Fraud Dude, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, Aria Carter, Melissa B., Olivia Youngblood, Elena C., Jillian Mumford, Evil Chris, Robin L. Tercer, Rex Term Raoul, Witchy Poop 19, and Brian Avers. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank each and every one of you. We appreciate all your support, and we hope that you know you are just fantastic.
Yeah.
No, I feel like we might have used that before.
It doesn't matter, and there were no fangs in this film, but it's okay. It's okay. Until next time.